Yep. Good. We're good. Good evening, council. We'd like to call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. And Deputy Mayor Perro.
Okay, would like to begin the meeting. This council of the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the land that we gather here today is the Treaty 9, 1905 to 1906 territory. The traditional lands of the Indigenous people. As we work towards reconciliation, may we all live with respect on the land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples.
Thank you. Review and note any changes to the agenda. I haven't had any presented to me, so if I can get a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda. Moved by Councillor Peter Kustover, second by Councillor John Perroff. Be it resolved that council does hereby approve the agenda as presented. Those in favor? And that is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest, declaration of conflict of interest. I don't have any paperwork, but council, you can declare at any time during the meeting if such a situation arises. So tonight we do have a public meeting under the Planning Act. So if we can move into that meeting, if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Drago Spence, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council move into a public meeting under the Planning Act regarding an application for zoning bylaw amendment, 18 Becker Road. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so we've received an application for a zoning bylaw amendment for 18 Becker, and I will hand it off to you, Menlaw.
Yep, and I will review the report on behalf of Kevin Sabrin, the Chief Building Official. So the summary of the report recommends that council approve a zoning bylaw amendment request for the property located at 18 Becker Road, described as roll number 5796 000 12900 0000, location plan M68 block, apportionment RPAR 323 parts 1, 2, and 3, AR 497 part 1, parcel 5154 and 5096 AWS in I believe that's Algoma West section in Hornepayne, Ontario. A public meeting to receive comments as required by the Planning Act is being held this evening, Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. A key map of the property to be rezoned is attached to this report and was provided to the public. The effect of the zoning bylaw amendment would be to rezone the entire property from light industrial M1 to heavy industrial M2 to permit a tire manufacturing with additional retail space uses on the property. This application was circulated to external agencies for review and comment. No comments have been received from external agencies. At the time that the report was written, no public comments were received. I received one afterwards. The comments were as followed. Will there be a burning tire or similar chemical smell coming from the property? The response from the owners of the company was no. There's an extensive filtration system and it exhausts internally, not externally. The next question was, what is the estimated municipal tax revenue that is projected to come from the property as a result of zoning amendment? So we can't say that until MPAC reassesses the property. It's dependent on MPAC's reassessment, and I won't guess as to what MPAC will reassess. What is the bottom line amount that will go toward the levy to help residents out with tax burden after the rebates associated with the CIP? There is no effect to the bottom line because the CIP is supported by reserves. If the property is rezoned as heavy industrial, will there be any controls in place to limit the use of that property going forward? So there is, if the property was sold. So there are no limitations as to the use other than the limitations as M2 property. And that was the extent of comments that we received. Planning considerations. Subsection 3.5 of the Planning Act requires that a decision in respect of exercise of any authority that affects the planning matter shall be consistent with the provincial planning statement. The application being considered is site-specific to accommodate a specific proposal and does not involve any major policy considerations. As such, the proposal conforms to and is consistent with the provincial planning statement. The new provincial planning statement came into effect October 2024. It provides policy direction on matters of provincial interest related to land use planning and development. The provincial planning statement sets the policy foundation for regulating the development and use of land, and municipalities must follow. The official plan for the Township of Hornepayne was adopted on April 7th, 2022, and it sets out a planning policy framework for the township to direct land uses throughout the community. Section 3 sets out goals of the official plan, including the following. Section 3.2.2 is the intent of this plan to encourage growth of the business function of this area by promoting the expansion of retail, office, and public uses, and encourage investment in community improvements. Section 3.2.3, the employment area to be protected and preserved for current and future uses, including its proximity to goods movement corridors, and shall allow for a variety of commercial and industrial uses, and by encouraging investment in community improvements. The general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, the zoning bylaw 1897, was adopted on December 8th, 2021 to implement the policies of the official plan and identify permitted land uses and provisions guiding development in Hornepayne. The subject property, if approved, will be rezoned from heavy industrial, in the Township of Hornepayne. The M2 zone permits the manufacturing, extracting, and processing of raw materials, repair workshops, and storage of goods, including a use such as manufacturing industries. The applicant is seeking to add a permitted use of retail space to heavy industrial zoning of this property. The requested zoning amendment maintains the general intent and purpose of both the township and Hornepayne official plan and zoning bylaw. The proposal is desirable for the appropriate development or use of land, building, or structure such as the proposed application meets all 4 tests under subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act, and the application is being recommended for approval. It is recommended that a zoning bylaw amendment be approved for the property located at 18 Becker Road, described as roll number 5796-000-005-12900-0000, location plan M68, block RPAR 323, parts 1, 2, and 3, RPAR 497, part 1, parcels 5154 and 5096, Algoma West section in Hornepayne, Ontario. The amendment would be property will be rezoned to heavy industrial M2 and an additional permitted use of retail space. That's it. So the recommendation is to approve the amendment.
Okay, is there any questions from council? I'm not seeing it. Okay, so, is there a motion for this to approve it?
There's a bylaw in,
Or sorry?
yeah, there's a bylaw in the regular agenda.
In the so we'll go back to that, not now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we can just return to regular council. There's gonna be no other further discussion on it? Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder to return to regular council. Moved by Councillor Peter Kissmaker, second by Councillor John Perroff. Be it resolved that council does hereby adjourn this public meeting under the Planning Act and return to the regular council at 6:08 PM. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to 7.1 is council discussion on the 2026 budget. And yourself or Cindy, gonna speak to anything?
Indeed.
Okay.
Did you want to maybe sit here where you'll be better heard?
Got my spot? I'll speak up. Hopefully that'll be good enough. Just let you know if it's not, but. So I just wanted to reiterate, something that we mentioned last time when we talked about the 2026, excuse me, the budget. It's not a recommended budget. This is not by any stretch of the imagination what we expect to use going forward. This is really just for discussion. So we wanted to, ask you, there were, as you know, we went through some of the sections last time, excuse me, and we didn't get through all of it. So one of the questions to you tonight is, do we want to go through it on a line by line basis? We've already had some discussions, and the changes that have been discussed already will be implemented. I don't have those numbers all in the new, in the versions that we have here tonight. It's the original information that we provided last time. I do also have some questions that have come in from the mayor mainly, and I don't have all of the answers here tonight, but I can provide those with the next version of the budget as well.
Before
sorry.
moving on, sorry, I just wanted to speak to this really quickly because
Okay,
there's no minutes, if that's okay.
yeah, for sure.
The fact that it cut out. The stream?
Sorry, that wasn't.
No, the minutes from last meeting are not available yet. And I just wanted to advise on this stream while we are live. The last stream, I didn't know this until after the council meeting, and I apologize. It cut out when council went for a recess. So the public doesn't know that the budget discussions were not continued after the recess. It was decided that the discussions would be deferred until this meeting. So I just wanted to say that so that, the public has on record.
What happened? Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
sounds
so
good.
sorry, I had that realization that should be said.
Okay, continue, Cindy. Thank you, Jen.
So what we have provided in the budget documentation so far is an overview of where we are today, based off what we've seen in the, over the past few years in the operating side. Just to let you know also, the actuals for 2025 are not finished yet. So the numbers you have here are not the final numbers. Some of it will be, but some of it's not yet, because we're still making some adjustments and our audit's coming up next month. So, we'll have, better information at our next discussion on it. So I just want to let you know, those are not final numbers.
Okay,
So some of what, when we talk about the budgeting, we need to show what our obligations are today. So, as you know, some of the, trying to formulate my sentence. Our obligations today and what we can do differently to improve going forward. That's what we're trying to get to. I know there are changes to be made, so that's where we want to look at some options. Last time, some potential for raising additional revenue through fundraising was mentioned. So that would be a question to council. Do you want us to include something of that level in the budget for 2026 and potentially in the next couple of years? We could put it in as a placeholder until the next council decides, but something to consider is what is a reasonable amount to put in there. With when we talk about generally accepted accounting principles, one of them is conservatism. We don't want to overinflate anything by estimating too high and thinking we can reach for the moon. So it needs to be a reasonable number. I'll put that out to you. Another thing, we are, even though we're still looking at the information and where we're at, we are fully aware that we're going to need to borrow more funds in order to complete the large projects that are already on the books and ready to go. Excuse me. So we've alluded to that a little bit in the long-term debt section of the budget here. I can't say that's a final number because we would still have to verify some of, say, the interest rates that we don't already know for anything we haven't applied for yet. One thing we've been talking about is cash flow. We're going to, with your permission, apply for another construction loan through Infrastructure Ontario, which will help us with cash flow to pay for the projects over the summer or as they're getting done. And that, if we pay it back, all we're paying is interest on that. So, that we can talk more about that as well. But that, we have to consider borrowing as a source of revenue in the sense of being able to help us fund the projects. And OCIF and is one of the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, for anyone who's not sure. We consider as a point of, as a revenue source to potentially pay down the loans, as Cheryl brought up, that it's one of the features of that program that they do allow us to do that for specific projects. So that is a potential as well to help us with these kinds of things. And one other thing to mention, there's probably a few more, but when we talk about doing things a little differently, we wanted to look at, or I believe, the proper way to handle in-kind donations when they're approved by council. We'd like to show that in the actual, and we could budget for it as well if you have a sense of what you might like to do going forward. But what we would show is an expense against council for the cost of that in kind with an equivalent revenue in whichever, like if it's an arena, you're donating space in the arena where we normally would get fees for that, we would show that as the offset. So there's no overall no hit to the operating costs in specifics, but it's revenue on the arena side that we're not actually collecting, and we show an expense on the council as a donation in that respect. So it'll give you a better handle on those kinds of what the cost is overall to the community, and give you a better sense of what you want to approve going forward.
If we're just talking about in kind, because I've been thinking about this as well. And in kind, there is a cost to giving in kind donations because you're reducing your revenues. Especially if it's an organization that can afford to pay. So council might want to consider just putting some parameters around the in kind. So for example, if we were going to donate ice time, perhaps the caveat should be that we need to realize 100% of our revenue. And then at that point, we can look at giving in kind. So that we're not losing revenue because of the in kind. So like once you've met your goal, then on a case by case basis or first come first served basis, maybe it's more fair. Let's look at in kind. So get your requests in at the beginning of the year as organizations. These are the in kind requests we're looking for. Once we meet our budgeted revenues, then we can look at giving the in kind. Or maybe once we're halfway through, we can maybe release one in kind or put some kind of parameters so we're not from day one with zero revenue saying, yes, use it for free when we plan to earn revenue from that facility.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I have to say, I do like the, putting the in kind as a revenue and
And
putting that
expense.
against, because I've said that before, that we're not capturing the actual revenues then. Because had we not given the in kind, that would have been paid for.
And
So-
further, we talked about it earlier, and we should consider a new revenue line called in-kind revenue, so we know it's not actually cash, it's not cash flow.
Mm.
It's something that was foregone.
Mm.
So,
The other thing too, that if we're going to do donations of in kind, let's use the most recent one we did. There's not enough revenue time between January to March to make that. So then those applications should come in later in the year then for the next year.
next year,
Like.
Yeah.
I have no problem with seeing a policy or report on that to bring
Okay.
that into place.
I'm
So
not
open up
against
for-
giving money, like giving donations, but I think there should be some parameters, especially since we're struggling, that just to make us be careful about what we're giving and when.
I agree.
I think it's important to give, especially for not-for-profit organizations, like most not-for-profits really struggle, but are we giving to other are we giving to organizations that are not-for-profit? Are we like, what are the parameters that we're looking at, right? So maybe a policy that sets some parameters and we can certainly work that out together.
Go ahead, Jen.
If I may recommend, we could include that there is in-kind donations in the municipal grants policy already, but we can take it and we can define it substantially more and then have it all within the one. And then also include the updated timeframes and.
Okay. Any further questions on that? Is council in agreement to updating the in-kind or the donations policy?
I like the idea.
I like it.
Okay. Councilor Spackler?
No, to me, I think it's a good idea. However, I think we should really market the fact that the groups, associations must hand in, because we talked about it before a few years ago. It fell through the cracks. People didn't know, and that's the truth, didn't know. And they said, well, we didn't know about it. We have to really do a marketing campaign and say, this is what's going to happen. Whatever the time frame you have, you apply for, even if you plan to do it, not sure 100%, but bring the dates in, what's your event, what facilities. I think that's crucial. Part of the missing link.
Mhm.
Thank you.
agree. 100%. Okay, sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
Okay. Since I've mentioned cash flow, I wanted to just, say a further item there. Excuse me. The, sorry, lost my spot. So I did mention a construction loan for the arena project because it is a fairly large project coming up. I'd also like to, assist with cash flow by, getting your agreement to, sign with Northern Credit Union, our local branch, for a line of credit, which would allow us to borrow from it, up to $1 million, similar to what we have with CIBC currently. But at a little bit better, interest rates. They've, indicated they give us a little bit better rate there. And I think for at least this year, we could use access to both. I think that would be very helpful, and then you're only paying interest on it if you use it. If you don't, there's no interest charges. So, that would give us a little bit more leeway in terms of cash flow. And again, we don't need to pay for it if we use it. So between those two items, I'd like to, if you're agreeable, bring these forward at the next meeting to get going on those types of things. I don't have, any paperwork to show you today, but, those are two things that I've been looking into on the background. The other thing we had talked about last time, were the reserves and the bank accounts, and did we have the money put aside? Some of that analysis is still going on. There's a lot to look at. We've gone through, a number of years from 2018, we're up to about half of 2023, so we've got a little bit more to go. But what we haven't seen is the, some of the expected monies that we were getting in, being put aside into a separate bank account. Some has, some of the more recent has not. So it's just been kept in the operating, accounts. That doesn't mean it doesn't earn interest, because there is some interest there as well, but it's not earning as much as it could. We are still reporting the interest to the funders, so it's not, there's nothing wrong with how it's being done, aside from the fact that now that we're spending more money, we don't have as much in the bank accounts as we thought we did, or, based off of the money that's coming in the past. So that's some of what we're still analyzing to see, are we gonna see it, at all? Where it, technically, we would like to move it, or should move it. So some of that analysis is still being done. I just want to let you know, it's taking a little longer. So we have you know, we do have some accounts that have been set aside. I'm not saying there's nothing, but we are just trying to figure out exactly where we're at and what we need to make sure that we are accounted for. Okay, in terms of, I guess, discussions on anything that we had already brought up, there were a few comments from last time on the budget where you wanted some changes to, say, council travel, those types of things. You won't see that changed in the documents you have with you, but we've made note of all of those requests, excuse me, and we're gonna incorporate that in. So my question to you now is, there were several sections that you have been provided the information and we hadn't had time to look at the last meeting, as Jennifer did mention. So my question is, do we want to discuss that more tonight? Individual sheets.
So where did we leave off?
Admin,
I don't know.
just finished it, then. As we're on fire.
Okay, I do think we do need a discussion on each. I don't think we have to go line by line in the sense of,
I would like to talk a little bit about the fire budget.
okay,
Like me personally, I'd like to make some comments on it, if that's okay.
I guess since did we leave off, or did we answer enough questions in last time that we don't want to look at that one again, or is that one you still have parts you want to look at before we move to fire?
I think we had enough time on that one. I would like to go forward on the other ones. Personally.
okay. And you have all my comments?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
I have my papers.
I'll let Cindy talk about the fire, and if there's anything that you didn't cover that I wanted to say, I'll add it.
Okay. Okay, so on the budget, as you can
Oh,
see,
I've got.
the present, the first sheet you'll have on your copy. Excuse me, or if you're looking at electronically, is the presentation sheet, which just gives the summary of all the protective services that we have, fire, emergency management, police, fire enforcement, excuse me, and the building department is also in there. Okay, so, I'll look into each one at least individually. So in the fire department budget, excuse me, there was a question on the increase in the revenues for the fire department in 2026 versus prior years. Part of that was the $30,000 that we included for potential revenue that I believe is for highway calls.
Yeah.
That's for. And if you look down on your fire department, we also show a transfer to reserves of 30,000. So that, and the expectation there is if we don't have the revenue, we won't transfer to reserves. But if we do make the revenue, that's where it'll go into reserves for future fire.
Sorry, I'll speak to that a little bit more. So the highway calls are new this year. We have no idea how many times we're going to get a highway call or if we're going to get a highway call. I think we already have. So in planning to budget for that, we wanted to have zero impact to the budget from those highway calls because it's so new, there's no way to gauge it. So what we did was we estimated 30,000 in revenue and we offset it by 30,000 in a transfer to reserves. And the intent is any money that's received from fire calls, 100% will be transferred to reserve for the fire department towards a new fire truck or whatever needs to happen because we have some big obligations there. The big thing that I want to add is it doesn't show in the 2026, but by 2027, we have to replace that fire truck. Like we have to have an underwriter survey, and with our old fire truck, everybody's insurance, everybody's home insurance would increase with our old fire truck. So we have no choice. We have to buy a truck, and that will be part of our spending in 2027, and it will be most likely through a loan. So unless we have like 100 fire calls and we can put a big chunk of money aside, it's not likely. But you know, starting today is obviously not for this fire truck, but for the next one. So it's a planning into the future. But for council to keep in mind when you're thinking about this 26 budget, that in 2027, we need to buy a truck. We'll probably order it in 26 with the payment happening in 27.
What I do know about that is I have a big concern because I do know that our fire hall is not big enough for a regular size fire truck. So now we're talking about custom made, which means more money. That's scary. 'Cause now we're
Or
talking-
we park it at 19 Becker.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Those are,
Yeah.
it's a bigger thing than just,
The 19 Becker garage is much bigger and we're putting a door at the back. So they have access from the front and the back of the building to put equipment in or out.
Go ahead, Peter.
Through you, Madam Mayor, two questions, well, three. Right now is directive one, first one's for the fire chief. What's the new pumper unit gonna cost? Number two, I would rather look at the modification of the existing facility versus the modification of the machines. I think it might be half the price. Because a fire truck, if you're gonna custom make it, it's gonna add probably $250,000 to it, where 100,000 will go a lot further on an extension. I'm just saying. Yeah, yeah, that was it. I mean, sorry.
Nope, that's.
Yeah, I have to agree with Peter on that.
Yeah.
I don't wanna touch our public works with fire.
No, that was the third
That's like
question.
the next one.
In the
Being on the
short
wrong side of
term, I
trucks.
think if we had to, but
No, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
we gotta spend $1 million on a fire truck. They're what, 850, something like that, right?
yeah,
Like you get those 650, but they're big,
They're big.
they don't fit, to get ones that'll fit. I found two around 880. They were 650, every year they're going up 100 grand, so we're up to 880 now.
For a custom one,
Pardon?
for a custom one?
No, just a smaller one.
Okay,
With the custom, they're gonna cut a front bumper off one of them to make it fit in the garage. But along with that, like we have 1 foot of clearance between that and the staircase. We have to extend the staircase and then the tall guys have to duck on the roof, like. There are lots of issues with trying to get a truck in there, like, we don't have room, but we're gonna make it fit, yes, we have to for now, right?
go ahead, Belinda.
My other question is, when we're talking about this, is what are we doing with your rescue truck, the other truck?
So,
Okay,
I'm sorry. The pumper we have right now is, I'd like to keep it as a second pumper. It's very good, and I'm seeing the price of them, they're selling for about $20,000. For me,
What?
I would rather keep that second pumper than sell it for $20,000.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing 20 grand for 15, 18 year old pumpers,
Okay,
and this is 30. That's just my desire, and the rescue truck, it's old, overloaded, lots of issues, lots of problems. Junk. That's my truth.
okay, just a question on that though, are we able to keep it as a second pumper?
Yes, it's off the
Because-
books.
But it can be utilized as a rescue, like it can be utilized as a fire truck and a
It can be
rescue?
used as anything and insured and legal. The underwriters will not look at anything more than 25 years old. So when we go to do our fire master plan or our underwriter survey, we drop into, they put us in a category, which is basically, you don't have a fire department, you don't have a fire truck, you have nothing. Because our truck is more than 25 years old.
But the new truck will be sufficient for,
Okay.
so our rates will stay the same.
Absolutely. All the research I'm doing is an FPA code, a little bit more expensive, but underwriters will not have a problem with it. It'll be all up to code and all legal.
Okay, so a question on that with the building, would the new truck fit between like into the garage? Does it fit just going into a garage door? I'm not talking about height, I'm talking about width.
Can I comment
No,
on
I
that?
did check.
Can I
Okay.
I
comment
assumed
on
they
that?
were all the same width.
How much room do we got right now with the present truck?
I can get in, I got a few inches on each side,
Okay, and then what year is that truck?
80. And 97 is the Volvo and 86, 87.
Not worried with the pumper truck, I'm worried with the pumper truck, the bigger one, so it's a 90 what?
97.
Okay, so it was in the mid-80s when they changed the maximum width law, so the width has to be the same to be under the highway traffic act, so it's 102 inches, it'll be the same width.
It'll be the same
To be
width.
street legal, it
Okay,
has to be.
okay, that's my only question is if we have to extend that garage out to the street side, then it has to be able to fit both.
Yeah.
Especially because now we're gonna have the bigger truck, our current fire truck with a new one. That's much bigger.
The height might be an issue, I don't know how much tall is that.
Can we extend towards the street? Are we allowed?
But we looked,
Why not? It's our street.
Yeah.
I looked with the contractor, we could come out about 8 feet before we get close to power lines. Power lines are about
Okay. Okay,
8 feet. Told me 150 grand years ago when so I'm done with.
but 8 feet straight out with both garages, does that fit your new truck?
Yes,
It
Does
does,
that-
does it? So if we put the new truck on the far side, on this closest side, and the old truck on where it is now, does that solve the staircase problem?
yes,
The 8 feet out?
absolutely.
Okay, so I think we just need a fuller plan on that
Yeah.
and have a discussion, because we gotta minimize cost and get enough room in. And what's the easiest solution? Well, I'm sorry, I was just gonna say it, I can't afford a building. I don't know where we're gonna afford that.
Another issue we'll have to look at, that was brought up, is when we go out 8 feet, how much difficulty are we gonna have getting the trucks in and out of the garage? When
Yeah.
people are parked across the street.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
We're gonna have to.
That's what I said. Can we go out 8
We're
feet?
gonna have to look at that and. Cause right now, like, we go to back the trucks in and there's people parked across the street. And we can do it, no problem, but. You add 8 feet to that garage, different story.
Yeah, you're right.
Or make it no parking zone across the street, that's all.
Right in front of retail.
Well, what do you want? You want fire suppression or you want retail? Or are you gonna walk around the corner or park your car? Like, we have to, these are decisions we have to make. Go ahead, John.
More of a recommendation or an idea is to have Miles work with, an engineer to come in and have a look with plans, and they'll be able to tell us what best to go forward with, which plan, either
And then
front or
to-
backwards or
100 grand.
whatever. Just for a brief discussion on it, doesn't have to draw plans or anything, just get their opinion.
We can't go backwards because there's a basement that's in
Okay,
the way.
Like to go sideways, that was always my desire.
but I mean, we can sit here and talk about it all day,
Yeah,
but the
we could,
engineer's
yeah.
gonna have their opinion anyways. So,
Yeah, true enough.
Sideways won't help with the length though. Sideways won't help with the length though.
Sideways, just build another bay, 40-foot bay beside,
Where? Where beside?
you know, with the guy next door.
Oh my
First
goodness.
resort.
I was like, where are you putting this bay?
That's what I
Okay.
want.
Okay, I agree with, John that it's not gonna be solved tonight. So we need to understand how big of a place we need, if we're gonna house 2 fire trucks, and how we're gonna move forward with that. So, go ahead, Drago.
Yeah, I agree with, Council John. I think even if you hired an architect, don't have to mention architect, they know this stuff. A simple schematics, not a 3-dimensional plan, comes in, talks to the fire chief. Fire chief gives them all the information that feels is relevant to that project, and you can do schematics, and then we could go from there. But I was like, you're right, we're just wasting our time.
But I think at the base level, between our own staff, is to figure out where it could go. Like, can it be an extension off the back? Why not? Like, can it be a new garage off the back?
Would have to be a full new garage.
Oh, absolutely, I can do a new garage, absolutely.
For the new fire
Sure.
truck?
Why not? Absolutely.
How close would it be to the tracks?
Want to take up your lawn, that's all. Take up.
But that's what I'm saying, is you have to look at solutions, right? So maybe we don't extend the front, but we put the new fire truck
Sure.
out the back and you have a door to
On
your
the
back,
side.
okay? Out the back, and then you have both entrances, you can have it that way. And you would fix your staircase problem, because then you move the fire truck to this side, upstairs. Does it fit on this side?
And I can have a third truck.
No, no, no. Go ahead, Peter.
Belinda just come up with this idea, but, if we're gonna add on to the garage and expenses and space and all that, if it's not a no-no to have it on the other side of tracks, put an add-on to 19 Becker. Cause everything's there and you already got office space, you got it all. I just thought that was.
I'm
Belinda's
not a
idea.
big fan of going across the tracks.
I
just
know
not.
you are.
Sorry. I think we were offered the MTO, a couple days in the MTO many years ago, and Dennis said no. Different CAOs have offered me 19 Becker Road as part of this takeover here recently, and we turned it down. But I'm not a big fan of their side of trucks. I don't know how much of the percentage of the community is on this side, but I'd be willing to guess 80 to 90% is on this side. Same thing with the firefighters, same thing with most of the calls. And the other side of the tracks, I mean, if it's 15 or 20% of the community, it really is cut off by that train. I lived over there for a couple of years once, and it is cut off by those trains.
Valid point, yeah.
case of emergency, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of going to the other side.
Okay, any further questions? Any more information that council needs in this report about where we're locating? Is there an appetite? Do we look at a brand new building with housing on top and go after,
I really like
alone?
that idea.
Like, I don't know, like if,
We have plans for it.
If we get the modular building there at 30 cents on the dollar,
I like that idea, where there's an income coming in just with the fire department.
mhm. Well, I would say a report with all of that, all the different solutions and look at them, research them, and then we can make a decision, because we would hate to, and there may be grants available to help us with that. Or matching funds. Okay, is there anything else, that we wanna discuss? Any further information that council wants? For the relocation of the fire, or the, housing the fire equipment? Okay. Does the staff need any more information from, for council, from council for that?
No.
Okay,
Is, sorry.
yes, go ahead, John.
Sorry, man, Mayor, Mayor, is, does the current administration need additional resources for this, or is this something we could handle in-house?
What do you mean additional resources?
Yeah, well, if you're designing or looking at building two different buildings,
Oh,
the
that
options.
would have to be. We need drawings
at
and,
least the options, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. but I definitely don't want to pay for those drawings at this early stage.
No, of course
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's just to get it moving forward instead of waiting 6 months or a year.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just 1 second, Belinda. Are there any, expertise available at the fire marshal's office to help us without putting costs out for an engineer?
I've never heard of it, but I'll inquire.
Okay. Go ahead, Belinda.
I did hear Miles mention it, but they do have a plan already. Like, can we pull the plan out and take a look at it? And maybe even find out how much that would cost.
What is the plan to build a?
What plan were you talking about when you said you already had a plan?
He had done a plan for, township offices, fire department, and apartments overhead with office space for retail rent,
You're probably looking at
And,
a $10 million project.
something green.
The
Yeah.
green municipal
Green
fund
municipal
that they applied for. Yes, okay.
And she asked for drawings and we gave drawings and dimensions and we gave her our fire department.
Okay, to be included with that new build.
Yeah, we gave her this what I want and we gave her the fire department portion and
Okay,
it was quite a large document she did,
yeah.
huge, 89 pages. I think it was a shelf ready, like get it ready on a shelf, so when there's grant money available, they just pull it on the side, change a few things and hand it in, I think that's what she said.
Okay, can we pull that out and we'll have it on council agenda to have a look at it?
See if I can put my hand, if it exists.
Okay. Okay, back to the current, fire budget.
I can mention a couple of things that might not be, depending how deep you looked when you were looking. The furniture and equipment, we have an increase, from last year to this, partly for, the bunker gear that needs to be updated, and there was a small miscellaneous amount for, whatever they normally would have to replace in here. The training budget is higher than in the past, due to the new, it's a regulatory, that they're required to do specific training that cost. All I have to say, unless you have any other questions.
I do have one question, just from the meeting with the, fire marshal's office or the ministry. For the training, they come up north for training, but we didn't have the training center available then, and apparently we can apply for it. So can we find out the date so that we can put a submission in to host the training?
What training?
I'm not sure which trainings they were doing, but they have Greenstone and I believe Marathon are hosting sessions.
With the big trailer?
I'm not sure, Miles. That was the meeting that I had, and then I think you guys have had subsequent meetings since then.
Our meeting. said marathon.
I believe it was Marathon and Greenstone.
So
and
maybe they're getting the trailer, we get. So they have a trailer that we can apply for, every year, they try to give it to people every second year. I've never applied because I didn't have a hotel to host it. So we got our hotel and I brought in AutoX last fall. And I asked for an increase in my training budget to bring in instructors. I've asked for the OFM to send me instructors. In the past, they wanted a minimum of 12 students that I couldn't provide. And now they'll send us an instructor for as few students as I can muster to do an exterior attack course. They want to reduce our services to an exterior attack only because we won't be ready for July 1st. Speaking of the fire chiefs, nobody's ready for July 1st, so we don't know what's going on. I don't know any municipality. Well, Wawa will be ready. First is in the trying, the tries already. Several communities are even trying to meet these standards and we're beating our head against the wall trying.
Okay, so
The ML, a live fire trailer might be something you're talking about. Wawa's hosted it 2 years in a row and I've said all my guys to it on.
when I met with the Solicitor General and the Deputy Fire Chief, I believe was in the room, he ended up having a follow-up meeting with him.
The deputy fire marshal?
Yes, because
Yeah.
when I met with them, we hadn't had the meeting from the November 29th email,
Yes, we had a meeting with them.
and you've met with them.
Yes,
Okay, it was during that meeting that there was already training put in place for whatever the parameters are for that firefighters need. And they said we need to apply, and there would be a date for that. It's already set up for this year.
when we met with them, they didn't talk about any funding, they just talked about,
Never spoke about anything that shows stuff.
yeah, no.
They want us to reduce our services and they offered me a 5-day course, exterior attack only. And honestly, I wanted to write a report about it, but none of the guys want to take 5 days off work.
Yeah.
They have to take 1 or 2 days off before work to make sure that they're available for that. They're looking at a week's loss in wages. And I've had 3 people threaten to quit the fire department and have stopped coming to practice. And I don't know how much further that the ramifications of that are gonna be. It's just starting. So I don't know what's gonna happen. We're gonna speak to people on an individual basis. And we might lose half our fire department. That looks like at this point.
Love how they put the rules in
Okay,
place.
we need a report on this, like,
It's all kind of.
how long, it's all happening right now.
I spoke to the fire marshal's office and I told the guys we're gonna find good course, sign up and start dropping my flies. And this is a common problem that other fire chiefs have brought to the fire marshal's office. I've been at conferences, I've had chiefs stand up in front of 107 people and list these problems and get a standing ovation for their comments and their problems. Because we're all experiencing the same thing and the fire marshal's office just keeps bulldozing. So basically, even their advisors are saying the Southern Ontario cities are going to be able to certainly get in line with this, and the small communities right across Ontario are going to have a difficult time. In Northern Ontario especially, it's having a very difficult time. We have nobody, like firefighter 1 and 2, I've got people are willing to take time off work and go. It's in just past Thunder Bay, there's a training center. It's 5 or 6 weekends, so you have to travel down a day, spend 3 days, travel a day home, that's 5 days. Go to work for maybe 2 days, depends on the spare board, travel down a day, 3 days, come home a day. Like you can't do 5-day weekends, like this we did, or 3-day weekends, right?
Okay, well, if we could follow up with the office, because they had said that there was some sort of date for training, you could host it in our community, maybe that would help. I'm not exactly sure what this one is, this is for the fire 1 and 2, you said.
Yeah,
that
our
they're traveling.
guys, even to reduce to an exterior course, which is a 5-day course, our guys are. And yeah, they're not taking. They want their wages paid and I put out a report that 2 or 3 years ago, I gave you guys, I needed basically 300,000 or 400,000 just for training alone, just send people all over Ontario, but they're not willing to lose their wages, and even if they were, the railway's not willing to give them the time off work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
Is this something to mention at the mayor's group right away and get all you guys to look at this? Cause this is major. And even like, if your CAO group, you have one to even look at it there because, and make it a priority, because this is crazy. This is gonna ruin us, especially when it comes to insurance.
We don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I wanna know, what are you gonna do on July 1st when we're not successful? Because I told them I can't. 36%. Right, I'm a railroader community. That's a spare board community, shift work at the mill and elsewhere. My attendance is 36%. So when we spend 8 months going through a training program, I've got, the attendance looks like Swiss cheese. So do it again, it's still Swiss cheese. I still gotta take people aside and go through individual training sessions to try to get them to build a mandate. It's 280 hours of training and I can't do that per person. Like,
Yeah, it's
some
crazy.
communities have hired a full-time fire chief just for training and the fire chief's position. To try to meet these standards. And firefighter 1 and 2 guys, that's just one standard. There's several others. Officers and trainers and there's inspectors, we have that inspector, a qualified inspector. So I took inspection courses. I'm not gonna go and take 6 inspection courses, just like 6 5-day courses, just to try to meet these standards. And nobody else wants to do it, it's boring.
Go ahead. Manuel.
Are we able to partner with other communities? You said Wawa is compliant. Could we do like online training with them? Does it have to be in person or could we be like part of their training but online? And that might be less expensive, like our guys are here if it's their day off, like.
Guys are willing to train them these off. I have an increase in budget and it was to try to, the fire marshal office, I said, send me somebody for a month. 1 month, everybody will give all their days off for that month. You send me one guy for 1 month. Teach us how to do it and we're gonna spend that whole month with you. I got myself and somebody else is off work for a couple months and we'll do that, help as much as we can. And they said no. I said, just one guy, no.
Yeah.
So now I asked for an increase in budget to try to find a private firm to send somebody.
Madam Mayor,
Go
for
ahead, yes,
you,
go ahead, John.
I was just wondering if, if there was a program for train the trainer type of thing for here locally.
There is, we sent 2 guys in Thunder Bay. The testing is very difficult. They both failed. They were given the opportunity to rewrite. One refused to ever take a fire department course again. And the other one rewrote and failed. And the 3rd time he passed the night before our meeting with the deputy fire marshal because he was going to hear about it, right? Like the courses are extremely difficult. I've taken them and I've left there angry. Like they're very, very difficult.
Are those courses geared to cities?
They're geared, they're university people that wrote the questions and wrote the book and they're not experienced firefighters.
Wow.
It's very frustrating.
It's,
Okay, so, is there further comments, Cindy, that you want to make on other line items?
Not on the fire, unless there's a question.
I think we should set up a meeting with, CN and make a user agreement with them for their yard. like, I'm sorry, but we have to start. And we're gonna have to put that, property standards bylaw on an upcoming meeting so that we can enforce it.
I need to have more information about the user agreement
Well,
for their yard.
we have user agreements for,
Which yard?
the mill, for their CN yard and their track.
Like user agreements with the fire department?
Yeah.
Okay, like
Yeah,
a
we're
fire,
gonna- if we're
fire
gonna
coverage.
Protect them,
Okay.
yeah, they gotta pay for it. And then
Okay.
what bylaw do we need to put that in place?
Okay.
Because we can't, like, the taxpayer of Hornepayne can't pay for everything,
No, I agree.
like. Yeah, go ahead, Mom.
I'd just like to add quite a few things to this user bylaw with CM, but I'll speak to her privately, I guess, and she can bring it forward to you, or do I have to?
Yeah, no, you bring it to Manuela and then it's optimal to bring things to a report, cause then we get to read it ahead of time. Cause right now, what I find with all the information I'm getting, and it's not geared at you, Miles, but it's just a lot to take in, and then you kind of get frustrated in the moment, and it's like, okay, I can't consume that much information and then think about all the different ways, right? But if you sit back and you have it, then you can think about, okay, maybe we try this or we try that. But I just know with the user agreement, we've said it before, and that's one of the areas why we went in with the property standards bylaw. Is if you have a bylaw for it, then you can have companies align to it, because it's a law, they have to follow it. So, and that's basically how we have to deal with big corporate, is in that way. Go ahead, Drago.
Yeah, I brought that issue, Miles made a presentation about 3 months ago, regarding the training and standards. The minister, where it was at that time, he said, there's no way he changes the date. That's where it is, it's in stone, it's in July. Number two, when that came out, I read a couple papers through Star, Tanya Bay. 30% of municipalities in Northwest will not be ready. Northeast, meaning us, Sioux, all small municipalities, west to the Sioux East, but 42% from where will not be ready. So I think the minister will have to re-engineer the thoughts. That's not only us, it's
Yeah.
anywhere usually 2,500 less. It's not gonna happen, because people are not full-time firefighters.
So within the email stream of your, as the fire chief, are you receiving support resolutions for your meetings or anything like that from the other municipalities that are having these issues?
No, I don't know, I'm just talking to guys.
You're just talking to the people?
Yeah, I asked them what they're doing for firefighter 1 and 2. I asked her, it's like, we need help with firefighter 1 and 2, what are you guys doing? We're not even trying. I asked Tyson about coding, what are you guys doing for firefighter 1 and 2? We need help, we need to team up with people, and we're not even trying.
Do they know they can't go? It's just,
I asked White River, he told the fire marshal's office, I'm not doing it, what are you gonna do about it?
yeah,
Right?
Wow.
That's his word, so.
Yep.
That's the people I've spoken to other small communities on the North Shore, or like Huron, or on Huron, and they're trying, but they've got bigger centers nearby that they're dealing with, right? Sault Ste. Marie trying to run a firefighter 1 and 2 course, nobody was willing to take the time off work.
And it's still too far.
But they couldn't even run the course. They sent it to all the communities in Algoma. How many of you are gonna come to this course, and they couldn't get enough people? So it's not just us.
No.
It's everybody.
Okay, so we want to move forward then with the discussion at the Northeast Superiors Mayor's Group about fire, and then Neom is hosting a meeting on April 10th that I'll be going to. I think I sent you that today, Manuela.
Yeah.
So if we can get it added onto their agenda, we could follow up with them to add it onto the agenda of both those groups.
Yep.
And I think we will have to receive a report on the issues so that we have that to bring to the meetings and distribute it. And our next council meeting is when?
Oh, well, we are on next Thursday and then April 16th.
April 16th. Okay, that's beyond both meetings, April 16th. Do we have, is it in a past report, Miles?
And this is just, right now, it's just hitting a cement wall everywhere I turn. We've been trying for a long time.
Okay.
We
Is-
still have the resources.
Is there a possibility that we could have a report for next Thursday? Are we able to put that on the agenda to receive it?
April 16th.
For,
Try something.
for March 26th? No, the 16th won't work.
Oh.
Cause our, Northeast Superior's Mayor's is the second and then this
That
other
would
one's
leave
the 10th.
tomorrow and Friday morning to prepare it.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Would council consider allowing, because it is short notice, that to be put on as pending and then to have it placed on early next week?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So tomorrow and Friday.
I'm fine with even saying that we wanna receive the verbal report that you gave tonight in a printed copy next week.
Sure.
And you
Okay.
can, it can be put on the agenda that
I can
Thursday.
give you my frustrations, what I'm going through, what I've done. I can't give you much in the way of fact, just. I'm not gonna say White River said this.
No,
Yeah.
that's all, but you can, but in the report, you can put the recommendations is that these communities are reached out to, that, the Northeast Superior's Mayor's Group, NOMA.
Yeah.
To reach out to them, like, let's get support for our community. And then that gives me something concrete to bring to the meetings. Okay.
Yeah, I need help.
Are you able to come see me tomorrow afternoon?
Pardon?
Are you able to come see me tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll work on it in a minute.
For sure.
Okay, so I just have one clarification. So we're putting 30,000, we're setting 30,000 revenue fire department other, and that's from the new auto extraction. And if that's received, it's going completely into reserves. Okay,
In a separate bank account.
in a separate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions on the fire department at this point? Okay. And then, moving forward to the next one. Is, which one do you wanna, sorry, I'm not.
Public Works, I believe is next.
Do you want to move on to the public works or the other?
Yeah,
tabs?
Public Works is, or do you wanna go through the tabs? Actually, there's a couple things there.
There is, yeah.
There's a few.
Yeah.
So if we look at the emergency management, there's not much there, but that's for the CEMC.
Yeah,
Mhm.
CEMC training.
Yeah, training. to Make sure we're ready for that, if there is an emergency. On the police section, these are costs we have no control over. So we just include what we're given from them as next year's information. The bylaw and animal control, there's also very good in here. And very little expenses over the next month.
Can you explain under policing the beaver control bylaw? What the heck is that?
No idea.
For my time, and it looks like there's been no expenses or budget for it in years, so we left it at zero as well.
Oh, okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
I can look into it if you wanna know.
Well,
but
that's
right now
fine.
it's before my
Yeah.
time.
Okay, go ahead, Drew.
That's when there was a lot of beaver problem, jackfish, the council, put that together and we could hire a person in community to, capture the beavers and eliminate them.
They're policing them.
Well, it's protective service.
Yeah.
Okay,
Health and safety. Beaver fishermen.
I can see that under animal control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand why it's there though. No, maybe policing, but
We can move it, but as I said, there's been no cost or
Yeah.
budget for it.
maybe that's some bylaw that we put on, later this fall on the docket, so we just read it, look at it. Like, Drago, that was before I got on here,
Okay,
in 2016.
yeah, it
so-
was, yeah, that's correct, yeah.
But it was since you were on council or when you worked for the town?
No, when it was a council,
Okay,
yeah, correct, that's year and a half prior to coming along,
okay.
approximately.
I don't remember. Go ahead, right?
So, fall might be restricted act period. So do we want to do summer or?
No, we're just gonna review it. We're not gonna
Okay.
do anything to it.
Cool.
We can give recommendations to the new,
Okay,
like.
perfect.
We've all, there's 4 of us sitting at this
Mhm.
table that didn't know what it was. So we should actually look at it, considering it's one of our laws.
Got badges on, that's right.
Okay, so we're moving on then to, bylaw.
So bylaw and animal control, there's really been very little in terms of expenditures over the last few years, so we did reduce the budget.
Okay, I did have a question about this, cause I've had this thing just drives me crazy every year, cause I figure we spend more money getting the tags than we do ever collecting for putting the dogs on there.
We don't buy tags every year.
Oh, okay.
We recycle, we have a set amount of tags, we engrave our own with the year and everything on it, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But, if we are not enforcing our bylaw, are we putting the municipality at any undue risk? That was my concern when I saw this. Okay, so there's like, because this is, I don't think Hornepayne, I'm not sure. I'm thinking this was implemented by the province to have cat and dog tags?
I'm not sure,
I
but the
believe each municipality chooses.
Chooses to have it, okay.
So the tags are for identification purposes. If an animal gets picked up, but if you don't have a dog catcher, animal control officer, no animal's ever gonna get picked up unless they're a risk, and then it's gonna be the OPP. And
Well,
Right.
we had this discussion with the fire, when the fire came close to our community, is that people are gonna lose their minds over their pets, and we're gonna have no way of knowing.
Well-
And then we're gonna have people like doing the rescue, if we ever ended up in an emergency situation, this is where it's gonna really be devastating for the people that go in the homes and devastating for the pets. So, go ahead.
My suggestion, when you say that, is that's how you market it.
Yeah,
Because the only time I ever seen this animal tag thing work is when 1 year back in the 80s sometime, they went door to door and asked if you had a pet and do you have a tag for your animal? And I'm sure that's probably the only time it actually worked.
mhm.
People bought tags. But
But-
otherwise, I've never seen anybody go and
Yeah.
buy tags.
But
We
now
did-
we have the digital, we can put it on a renewal, right? Automatic renewal, the $10 fee, whatever it is
we
every
did
year.
post it on our Facebook and website earlier in the year, like I believe in January, and we're pretty much laughed at on the site. I think I'm the only one that bought a tag this year so far. And my dog lives here part-time. So,
Yeah, go ahead, Glenda.
My
Yeah.
thing is, if you were to market it, because if we have a fire, we know that you have an animal, that kind of thing, I think you'll get a better
it's
response.
an identification purpose,
Yeah.
absolutely. If your dog gets lost, we know who to call, like,
Yeah,
you call the office and we have the tag number is on there. We contact the owner. We won't give somebody else the information, but we can contact the owner and say, hey, we have your dog. The problem is we have nowhere to put it. Like, we have nowhere to keep the dogs or
Mhm.
cats or.
that's true.
Yeah, but if we're collecting more fees on these things, we can build something. It's what comes
Yeah.
first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah,
And that, I just find it,
Yeah.
for me, I'm either we scrap it off or we
something.
use it. Because I've been here, this is 10 years now, and I still find this ridiculous. And then it actually came up really clear in my mind was you're gonna have people, you're gonna be trying to evacuate people, and they're gonna be worried about their pets, whereas if you had a list that said, no, we're going, like, because they have the team set up for that, to go and get the pets and everything. But if you don't know they're there, like,
because you don't evacuate with your animals.
exactly, and the
Yeah.
thing is with the tag is it says the name and everything, so you're
Yeah.
preparing that emergency response person. Like. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was my only question there. Go ahead, sorry Cindy, I went off tangent.
Okay, in the building budget, there is a question, what is the travel training and professional development for? That would that would be the chief building official traveling from Wawa to Hornepayne in order to approve the building permits and do inspections and whatever else he does while he's checking for the building permits.
Okay, and then I did have another question about building demolition, because we've got that down to 1,000. Are we not taking any more buildings down? Or not planning on it?
We are taking them down at very little cost.
Oh, okay, so we don't need,
We're not paying contractor to take them.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're taking them.
okay, go ahead, Belinda.
That's fine.
Okay. Any further questions on public works? Or fire? No, it's emergency services, right? I guess I'll forget it.
Yeah, so it's under the fire.
Okay,
Actually, I
Yeah,
think I
go
should,
ahead.
when you're talking about demolitions and all that, are we not being responsible for maybe when it comes to getting that mall down? When we're talking about getting the mall taken down, not putting money aside for things that are gonna come up, hopefully, to get it down. So when you talk about fees or that kind of stuff, should that be a spot where you, put that information in? Or budget for it or whatever? I
That would be
don't know.
more capital.
Can you ask it again?
Okay, so we really want the mall to come down or whatever, but when it comes down to me, it's gonna end up being a capital project, whatever. However, when it comes to certain fees that we might have to go through or hurdles to go through to get that taken down, should we be budgeting for that? And would that be the spot to put some money aside for it?
Yes, we did include, I'm not sure if I've got it in here. I think it's 2 million. But we did include, on the expectation of getting a grant to take care of that. We did an offset for this potential expenditure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
So,
fine with that. It's just,
yeah, as I said, it might not be in this capital budget, but we had discussions about it and certainly would plan to at least include it in there as a subject for funding table.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, so we're gonna move on to public works now.
I probably do not know with the answers tonight, but I will give you the answers I do have, plus any other questions that you might want to ask. So. You look in the public works department specifically. There was a question regarding the streetlights and are there any programs that we can utilize that? I do not know the answer to that as of yet. The difficulty with that, and there may be ways to mitigate it anyway, would be snowfall in the winter, possibly blocking the solar panels, but you can certainly look into the options there.
Okay, any further questions on that? The first page, you're on public works and rec, right?
And
Okay,
I'll give it up on the screen now, and you can see if there's anything else I should. Sure.
I inundated you with questions on.
Yeah, some of it was, are the repairs and maintenance budget realistic? on the new building. I think we are taking care of some of that. We have taken care of some of that, let me rephrase, in terms of the startup costs of the new building. I have been told it's in much better shape than the other, so we went with the amount that was recommended
Okay,
at that. The propane for public works, again, it's a little bit of a guess because we haven't been in the new building for very long, so we don't have a real sense of that, but that was the, let's say, estimation by the public works manager. This section of this public works budget includes the various equipment that is taken care of or used by that department. So the costing would show repairs and maintenance, and materials and supplies might be a first aid kit or something, so very little has been put in that section, but when it comes to repairs and maintenance, again, it was either based on historical or an estimate by the public works manager who uses equipment.
okay, yeah, the one question I did have about the sweeper was that so the numbers for 2025 might not be fully in yet then, because we budgeted 20,000 last year, but we only spent 2,500. 2024, we budgeted 25,000, we only spent 3,300. That's what I was asking about, is that,
Sorry, where are you on?
oh, sorry, I'm
sweeper?
on the sweeper, yeah, the public works sweeper. Or sorry, not, it says sweeper, but it's backhoe.
That.
Yeah, the backhoe, sorry. That was my concern, was more of, like, what are the maintenance items that have been budgeted for and not utilized, and is 12,000 now realistic? Like,
I think I would have left that at 20.
yeah, that's kind of where I was going with
Yeah.
that, when you look at but then if it's not, if the actuals aren't completely in for 2025, then it may be higher, but I was just concerned about that. It's on public,
On page. Yeah. Okay, so when I'm seeing all notes for the backhoe, repairs and maintenance, bucket pins, in 2026. That's why you have a $12,000 estimate there. I don't have any further detail aside from knowing that it's gonna need some maintenance every year. But we can look into what has been done to it if you're questioning if that's enough.
yeah, well, that's my concern, is that if we budgeted 20,000, but we still have, 17,000 in that line item that wasn't spent, we budgeted for something that wasn't done. And I'm just gonna say it straight out, we've consistently seen this in our budgets, that we've budgeted for things and it's not done. One year we budgeted to redo the arena, old weight room facility, and it doesn't done.
Yeah.
But yet, so now I'm getting concerned that some of these things that we budgeted for are, like, I don't want it to come, now in 2026, oh no, we do need to do these, whatever these were in 2024 and 2025. Like, whatever those budget amounts were, I don't want the equipment to fail because of them. Go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, through Mayor, I agree with you, because if you look at the minimum expenditures, I think the expenditure will happen this year from past experience, so I would leave the 12,000, my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm not saying adjust the 12,000, I'm saying does it need to be higher, or let's figure out what we didn't do on it.
Yeah, that's minimal for a backhoe. I'm not a Mr. Equipment person, but for backhoe, that's minimum, $3,000. I mean, once you start getting into the other mechanics of it.
I can look into what was budgeted last year,
I don't use them.
whatever specifics were indicated. It was just a round number that was used.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, just if Dwayne
I'll
can,
find out.
like, understand why he was budgeting, what it was spent for. you know, maybe the longevity of whatever he was gonna spend it for, he didn't need to, you know, which, it's just, I don't want it to be something that we get a surprise later. Okay, any further questions? I think mine were all on the same wavelength of that.
Some cases, it could be that they all the actual reward.
Right. Okay, so if we have no more questions there, we're moving to the airport.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe I
Yeah,
have. a
go ahead.
question. Just to refresh, we bought that new truck. And we were talking about adding on, other types of equipment like the sweeper, whatever. Are we doing that this year?
That would be
within this
capital.
budget? Is this capital? Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay,
The sweeper doesn't go on that truck.
Whatever. I just know there was more attachments that we were considering. Okay,
Yeah, I know he had more in mind.
okay,
So yes, but that would be in the capital.
okay, good.
Okay, so in the airport, there was a question about what was purchased in 2025. I do not have the information in front of me tonight.
yeah, that was, just so people know what my questions were, I can ask them to you if you like. Furniture and equipment, we spent 4,100, 5,000 was budgeted, we're not budgeting anything this year. And I was just wondering what we purchased for $4,100 over at the airport. The next, question I had was, Jet A gas purchases for the airport. We have it revenues at 20,000. And I know that we changed this before about how we measure for fuel. I was just wondering if we're charging enough, if we need to update our pricing on this. Because we did a fluctuating percentage amount, I believe, is what we did. On top of the fuel price, that was my question. You don't, obviously, I'm not expecting.
Our system updated our pricing on its own. And $9 per liter.
For aviation, right?
Our system charged somebody $9 per liter on its own, so we had to go and adjust it, but I don't know how that happened, but
Looking for extra revenue.
yeah, technology.
Okay. Cause I think what we did, cause we put this, I think it's in the user fees bylaw, is that we did a percentage above our, what we pay for it. It stays above that no matter what, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next question I had was, under runway repairs and maintenance and equipment repairs and maintenance, we budgeted 2,000, we spent 20,000, we have 20,000 budgeted now. See where I'm at, or is it revenues or is it? Oh, it's expenses, sorry. The main bar stays the same, so it looks like revenues to me, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, so the expenses, the equipment airport expenses, we budgeted. So we have something else we have planned for that?
Again, I'll have to look into that.
Okay. Okay. And that was the same thing for the, runway airport bucket and plow? Like, that's what I guess what I'm trying to say, guys, is when I looked at the budget, what we had 2025, what I'm trying to get away from is what happened here in 2025. Under, total airport operations, the airport plow and bucket, we budgeted 10, but we spent just almost 21,000. So I'm trying to see, like, how do we make it more realistic? So.
As we look further into those questions.
Okay, any further questions on the airport? Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, I do. Since there is no one else at the airport now, the public works manager is their own facility. Do you think $18,000 per year is high? I'd like to see the breakdown that $18,000 per facility that nobody's gonna be there. I'd like to see how it's broken down. What lights are on, when they're on. I mean, that's high for a facility that's barely ever used. I would like to see administration to look at really closely all the billing from Jerry Hydro, where it's coming from. Are being overcharged.
That's a good point.
That stood out as, my God.
Just hydro run the heat and that's it.
It's heat and water, I believe, like so the water's not freezing. And, Dwayne did bring up the recommendation that because when the pilots land, they have a code, they go in, we know who's going in, that we're gonna start charging the companies for the use of the terminal to offset some of
Yeah.
those costs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember.
I mean,
Yeah.
the minimum standard for heating, my understanding of facility, if you're 68 degrees Fahrenheit, will not freeze.
Yeah.
The pipes will not freeze. If you keep the water not boiling hot at 80 degrees, 90 degrees, you keep it at minimum. People aren't gonna have a shower, they're gonna wash their hands. I mean, those are the things we could save on, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Any further questions on airport? Not seeing any. Any questions on long-term debt?
We did look at that last time.
Okay. Landfill. Well, I did have a question on this landfill. And this, I wanted to get it looked into. Are we receiving the, reports on that landfill?
I just received one this week.
Okay, cause we need to know how much, and, cause it was supposed to be how much metal's being collected.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't that kind of report, it was an engineering report.
Okay, no, from the actual contractor, in our contract, they're supposed to be reporting to us.
Yeah.
And I have yet to see one. That was my question there.
I don't.
I
believe
will
I've
follow
seen
up
that.
with that, yeah.
Okay, any further questions on landfill? Go ahead, John.
Is, moving to a single location instead of two, is it still on the table at some point, or is it in somebody's thought or down the road?
Yeah, it's still on the table. It's in our landfill, expansion that we put in.
Okay.
And, I'm not even sure where we are at with it. Go ahead.
So
Turn it
EXP Services Inc., John Smith is working on our landfill expansion. That was the report that I got this week was landfill monitoring. So no, we don't have much of an update other than I just caution council to remember that going into the near future, we are going to be hit with another large bill to expand our landfill. Like what we're paying for right now is just the engineering costs in order to be at that ready to go, start expanding point, which is gonna be a few $1 million. At a minimum, I've asked for those costs, I don't have them yet. Once I do, council will know as soon as
To
I do.
expand the existing landfill?
Yeah, we have to,
I thought it wasn't gonna be that much because we're just gonna be adding on. We had the space.
I think we still have to pay for however we're doing it, though.
Pay for what?
There will be
Yeah,
costs.
That's
There
what
there will
I
be
thought
costs,
it was,
I'm
we
pretty
were
sure.
looking to clear for that.
I'll find out, but I'm sure I've asked a couple times, I've not received a response. I think it's more than just the report and,
The space is taking the trees off and building, like digging the cells, I thought.
yep,
And of course,
Yeah.
monitoring the wells.
yep,
Well, we have the monitoring the wells already.
yeah.
Yeah,
We have the wells in place.
so that'd be interesting to see what,
Yeah.
yeah.
Personally, my thing on it is it's taken way too long for anything to even,
Takes about
like, why
10
is it
years.
taking so long?
You didn't have to have it, then we still have room in the existing cells.
We have very little
Well,
room.
I understand all that,
Yeah, I
but
know where
we've been
it's coming
talking
in,
about
yeah.
this since our first German council.
Yep.
It
like-
generally takes about 10 years.
To expand a landfill.
Yep,
Government
that's,
gets involved.
that's from what I've seen, yeah. From the
Okay, so we
experiences I've
have all-
had at two different,
Okay, but we have all our approvals.
we're working on our approvals right now.
Okay.
That's what EXP is doing for us.
Okay,
We have approval for, with a certificate of approval for the current site. They're working on the expansion.
okay.
And also to be able to take on, hazardous contaminated soil. As well, and that would be a good revenue stream as well. Cause right now we're sending it to other municipalities.
Okay. Yes, Jen?
I just wanted to mention, because I've received some questions about it, the Blue Box Recycling Program transition. I will be bringing a full report to council at an upcoming meeting. I'm waiting to hear back from RIPRA on exactly what I can disclose.
What did you say?
Sorry, RPRA, they are the authority. I am immediately forgetting what they stand for, and I'm sorry. But
they regulate-
RIPRA, they are the regulatory
Okay,
authority for the
okay.
Blue Box program. We are in the transition schedule. Should be hopefully soonish.
So our hands are tied.
Yes.
We've done everything that we've needed to do to comply to the regulation. We're waiting on the contractor.
Yes. And it's a provincial contractor. We have no say. It's a whole thing.
It's wherever
Um,
we are in the queue.
Yes,
Okay.
but I did want to say, because there have been questions as well as to the impact for our finances. There will be no impact on municipal finances, that it's paid for by the, producer. It's producer responsibility. So I just figured this was a good time to advise of that, but there will be a full report coming to council once I get some more information on what exactly, if we can get some timelines and what can be.
Okay. Any further questions on landfill? Yeah, I think we should, so is that, update from John Smith gonna come to council?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cause I thought we were way further along. I
Me
thought we were
too.
waiting for just one last
I
environment
think,
thing.
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying another 10 years. I'm saying the whole process takes about 10 years. And you've already been doing this for quite a few years.
Yeah, but I thought we were like just waiting for one thing.
I think
before
we're
that
very
lined up.
close.
We were just waiting for one thing, and it was for, response from, First Nations. That's what I thought it was.
Wayne said it was, we were in the clear, that's why it was
Yeah.
shocked me.
Okay, so if we can find out exactly.
And that
when
was a
that's
long
at, 'cause
time
that-
ago.
Yeah, cause it was last fall.
Or
Even earlier.
even earlier.
Yeah,
Over a year ago.
a year ago?
Mhm.
Go ahead,
And I
Jerry.
remember asking Dwayne when I looked over, is there gonna be a large amount of cost? He said minimum cost. You're right. I remember it just like
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay, I will. Reach
I don't
out to
know.
John.
Or what though?
100 to 150, whatever, 175.
Yeah, whose definition minimal?
Down the front.
Okay, so no more questions on landfill? Do you need any more direction from us to? No, okay. Cemetery?
That was something that, Public Works Manager recommended. I believe the costing, now I'm speculating a bit, I may not know for sure, but I believe the furniture equipment purchased in 2025 had to do with our monument. That wouldn't need to be.
Was to do with what?
Monument lifter.
A monument lifter? Okay. Yeah, anyway, just let's get us some clarification on it because we did, that was the same thing, council, as I'm looking at the expenses and furniture equipment. One year we're way under in 2023, then we're way over every year. And we're at 1,000. We just find out. Any further questions on cemetery? Okay, there being none?
Let's skip over capital. Go to
Yeah.
recreation.
Recreation?
And question came up on the federal grants, what are we expecting? That would include 15,000 for fireworks and 2,000 for summer students.
Okay,
Question on arena advertising. Or says, have billboard and advertising space available, and goal is selling them all this year. Don't know was that in your schedule of fees? Yes. You could look at, if 500 makes sense for that.
some of these aren't questions, like where I
Yeah.
put in marketing plan for canteen, I'm just giving you my. Just so council knows, under the canteen, I put, need to put together a marketing package for the canteen. Reach out to past operators, ask for figures so that we can illustrate the potential revenues. Like I'm shocked that if we go forward with going forward with the expansion of the arena, that a provider's not trying to get in now.
Yeah.
So,
Really?
go ahead,
Yeah,
Trey.
you're right. That was, and the number two item is the fact we have a Studio Six now. They could have tournaments that could last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because that was a big downfall through the last 4, 5, 6 years ago. There was no tournaments. There was exhibition games, and you know that. So for a Saturday, was it really worth to bid on a contract that's worth 6 months long? So I think that opportunity is gonna be there now, because people could stay for a tournament.
And to get the record straight, even when the Hallmark was in operation for the last 15 years, we didn't have hockey tournaments because the snowmobiles, it was kept only for snowmobilers.
Yeah.
So now that we're gonna have baseball tournaments in the summer, we're gonna have hockey tournaments in the winter, it's good for the town.
So yeah, I agree with the mayor with the promotion for that. So those are the benefits for the person that's considering taking the canteen contract.
Yeah,
I
like
agree
if
with
someone
you.
wants to lock in now before,
Yeah.
or negotiate it. Did you have any other questions between that one and my next question?
No.
Well,
I mean, your question about why is the rec section empty, essentially any expenses that had been in there, I included with another section.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause it just seemed like there was nothing really in there except $1,000 now. Or it's completely gone.
I moved anything into another section.
Yeah, so the next under admin programs, I just wanted to, benches and picnic tables, we talked about this before. It was actually a resident that came up with this idea of a memorial package that people can have their names on our picnic tables and our benches for a certain number of years, or the life of the equipment, and that it pays for the equipment. That's what I was saying under picnic tables, because we have to replace them.
Mhm.
And then, I did say I'll be the bearer of bad news continually on this. We need to implement our plan from our 2019 service delivery review under parks. That we were told we needed to downsize our parks then, that we have too many, and we still have the same number. We still have the same number today, so we have to make that decision. And, there's the Riverside Park. We have to make those decisions, so. And the other one I just put in the comment here was that the plan to move the, R.W. Anderson Park to the pavilion, because that's prime real estate to develop for housing, so. I'm just reading, I submitted my comments through the email portal, so before I went on vacation. And I'm just remembering now. Oh my good gosh. And the salary, I just had the salary and wages, is that increasing because we're getting less and less, student funding?
No, that would, well, everybody's wages increase based off the union agreement and, that would include, well, the summer students would be specifically would be applying for what we can get here. But no, it's typically based off the union agreement.
Okay. Down in revenues, the Zamboni, I just put that we need a plan to replace that. Our Zamboni is old and, we're gonna need a plan to replace it. I know we tried in the past to get a Trillium grant for it. I don't know if we try again. But, yeah. Repairs and maintenance, 12,000. Oh, this was just the same thing as before, Cindy, is I'm just looking at the different years and the overspending and I'm like, we need to be putting more, I guess.
We did increase it a little bit from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Have to look at. That's all from one.
And then the one that I just wanted to highlight for council, like put it in here, is the repairs and maintenance for the curling club. So you can see the same thing happened, like, one year we didn't have a budget, we spent almost 13,000, we had 4,000, we spent 26,000. And, my concern is that that plant's gonna die, and we have to do that feasibility study with the GMF. I'm not sure, Cindy, if you're familiar with that? You're familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any further questions on recreation? Nothing? Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Greg.
do. Curling club. I'm a bit familiar with curling club.
Yeah,
I walked those doors quite a few times at 2 o'clock in the morning. That plant, very fortunate that you will have another 2 or 3 years, in my personal opinion. You cannot buy R22 anymore. When you bought R22, 2 years previous, it was like buying diamonds from South Africa. That's how expensive it was. I know that for a fact. So we have to move on that sooner than later, in my humble opinion, because we don't put a point. It's not gonna function, it'll be shut down. When we're gonna open it?
yeah, I agree.
Grants, anything's possible. Let's get it done. We spoke about that about 4 years now as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Longer.
Well, 4 for sure. I don't want to exaggerate.
Well, I know with the GMF, they do the feasibility study, they can help with the application. I think we had a discussion about this. But we have to have the plant operating for a year, so we gotta get that information in now, so that we can monitor the energy savings. Or we monitor the energy, so we get the potential energy savings.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you wanna discuss next? Is there anything further? Sorry, I gotta go back to my agenda. We're at water and wastewater.
Water and wastewater, I believe is primarily, based on Aqua.
Did you get any questions on that? Any questions from council? Did you need any information for us on that one?
So.
I think the only other point of concern for council or point of information is there is a water financial plan that has to be done every so many years. 2026 is the year it needs to happen. We've had 2 quotes. I think one is about 8,500 and the other one is just over 10. So 8,500 is probably, I would recommend going, but I'll put a little report together and probably for the next meeting.
Okay, could I get the old one sent to me?
The old plan?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
go ahead, council.
Yeah, I looked at their numbers actually quite thoroughly, and I think it's a fair increase from actual 2025 to 26. I went line by line. There's certain expenditures you can't avoid, material supplies. The rest look, barring any breakdowns, it looks pretty decent first blush at it.
Okay.
Usually that was a problem a few years ago.
Oh, it's concerning because we need to cut 400,000 out of it. So we do have some ideas if you'd like us to talk about that a little bit tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
So Cindy, did you want me to go ahead or did you want to
Yeah.
give you a break? Okay, so part of it is the fundraising for the fitness fitness facility and the, library. Sorry, I was having a little moment there. So if we could do some fundraising for that and incorporate some fundraising revenue, but we need some direction from council because I'm sure there's different feelings about how much can be raised. So definitely we can go to CN and some of the businesses
Okay,
within.
just 1 second, I just gotta stop back, because we were talking about water and wastewater.
Oh, sorry. We were talking about the budget as a whole, I think,
Oh,
you're
okay.
at that point.
Oh,
sorry.
okay, so we're done with water and wastewater?
Yeah.
Okay, but when you said we had to have 400,000 out of it, you weren't talking about water?
Out
and
of the
wastewater?
overall budget.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, out of the
Okay.
overall budget.
I was starting to wonder, where.
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
yeah, no.
looking at it.
I
was
said-
So the
listening
budget
to it.
overall,
Back
we'd
to
like to
school.
cut 300,000 to 400,000. So we don't wanna cut, we want to increase revenues or reduce some expenses, right? So how are some ways we could do that? So fundraising is one. So how do we do that? Do we hire somebody? Then you're increasing your wages. Do we do it on a commission? So do we put out an RFP for somebody and say, look, if somebody has some great fundraising ideas, we'll sign an agreement with you and you fundraise 100,000, 10% or 20% is yours. We'd have to come up with that agreement, right? It's on a commission basis so that there is no expense to the town, but possibly a revenue. So the commission would come out of those funds raised. Is that something that can be done? Is it allowed? Like,
I'm not sure if it's allowed. I have no
That's
problem
my first
doing it, but I
question,
don't know
like,
if
yeah,
it's allowed.
I don't know if it's allowed, but can we base a revenue source on a commission? Like, rather than hiring a person outright? If they earn nothing, we pay them nothing.
No, but I mean, like, for budgeting purposes, like, you can't count on
You
it.
can't budget for it.
No.
No,
You
it's
have to
not a
pay the year.
budget item.
Yeah.
So, the other thing is, do we look at like smaller ideas that we can do as a staff internally? Or does council want to put out for a wage and put out an RFP or a job ad for somebody for a year or 6 months or however long you think, or to do some fundraising? That's also
Can you build a contract where there's, 25 hours or 40 hours, you're at this percentage of the agreed upon fundraising? And if it's not, then the contract's done?
that's kind of like a commission, right? Like
No, because it's based on an hour,
Hours.
right? Because you're buying a consultancy's hours, like you're paying an hourly rate?
so consulting
Yeah, like I'm not sure, you have to look into it. I don't.
With a
know if
cap.
Yeah.
with
don't
a
know if
cap,
we
like
can
no
pay a
more than
commission.
X number of dollars.
I like the idea of the commission because it's zero cost to us. Where the other one,
Yeah.
consulting fees, we could be paying and not getting even breaking even, which we cannot afford to do that.
Right, that's what I'm saying, if we break, like, if we can't do I'm with you, Peter. If we can
Yeah.
do the percentage, like a commission,
Yeah,
I'm totally for it. I just, something in my mind is thinking, there's something that says we can't do. that.
yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into the municipal act. Is that something we can do? Like, that's.
But then to offset that, if we can't do that, but we have to do hourly for a consultant, then we have the parameters, like the first 25 hours, you bring us your full plan, then you're meeting those parameters every whatever it is.
With your milestones of
With
it,
your
that-
milestones, if council's willing to pay 10%, say on 100,000, so that's 10,000. If you can raise 100, we're gonna give you 10. So what do we expect the hourly breakdown of that to be? Or they did put the work in. So it works out the same.
Yeah.
If we can't
So
do
that
the
is,
one, we
that's
do the
kind of
other.
like the commission too.
Yes,
So. Or can we do a base salary plus percent? I don't like anything that, a salary, there's no guarantee that they're going to raise any money.
Salary.
yeah.
Or a consulting fee, there's no guarantee that they're gonna raise any money. So. That's a. You can't ask people to volunteer.
No,
That's,
no. And it needs to be more like Like it has to be focused, someone's gotta be focused.
Somebody
on
has
it.
to be focused at 100%. Or we try to do it internally with staff we have.
Comments, go ahead, Drew.
I'm 100% behind the, hiring somebody at a certain percentage, they produce, they receive, production, get zero. If people are interested.
Commission.
Yeah. And further, if I could do a supplement, I looked at a couple of days ago on the website for, possible grants. Ontario Hydro has a possible grant, for OPG has a possible grant, get their 5,000. Bell, also for community grant, T-Baytel, Ontario Lottery Corporation. So there's a lot of, so that's a lot of work, but anywhere between 2,500 that I looked at briefly to about 5,000. 20 of those, there's.
Ontario actually gets 25,000.
There we go. Maximum, yeah, right. So there is, I mean, there's no guarantee you receive it. However, there is opportunity there.
Yeah.
And somebody that's what has to hustle. Can be successful there, in that respect.
Mhm. What other questions do you need on that?
I need well, in order to put it in the budget, we need to have a mechanism by which to do it. And we don't want to wait too long. So I think really what I'm asking is if we were to go any kind of fundraising route, what dollar value would council feel comfortable putting as fundraising revenue? 50,000, 100,000, 75. As Cindy did talk earlier about the generally accepted accounting principles and being conservative. And so you don't want to put 200,000 because that gets rid of half of what we need. We want to make sure that we can obtain what we put on there. So,
Well, is that not something we'd ask the person that could do the fundraising? Because you can't, like, I don't know how to.
I don't think anybody can give us a guarantee of maybe, but,
Yeah, but where are we pulling 75,000 over the year?
but we still need
Like,
to put,
No.
if we're gonna put a fundraising amount in there, we need to have. Like, if we're gonna fundraise for part of the fitness center or the library or any of that, we need to have a number.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Or-
is how do we arrive at that number?
Or we don't put anything and we go with the idea that we're going to borrow 100% of what we need as our portion, and then we offset that borrowing with anything that we're able to fundraise, whether we do it internally or through commission or that's the most conservative way.
That would be the safest.
Yeah.
Is leave it completely out of the budget?
Yeah.
Yeah, and go with borrowing, but still try to fundraise some money.
Okay.
This is where you
It's an
actually,
unknown, right?
this is actually where we need clubs and clubs with memberships help raise their money for their,
Yeah,
for their
communities,
communities, yeah.
like a Rotary Club or
Yeah, or we used to have, a
Lions
weightlifting,
or, yeah.
group.
Did
Do
you
we
leave it
not
out?
have one anymore?
No. Not
And that's
officially.
too bad,
Well, there's some, you know,
because that would help.
Lions Club is its own.
Wasn't a club back in the day, paid for 3 beers.
Is there still a Lions Club here? No.
Oh, gosh, not the
No.
last 20 years.
okay, can we put out a request for proposals to, for a fundraising plan? For the arena and just put the top dollar is what we're, whatever our portion is, but we want to need as much as we can of it so that they have a number they're working towards, like, or they can say, oh, I can,
Yeah.
probably fundraise 150 of this for you, or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
And then it's out there,
on our website.
however we do RFPs, like,
This is a different one and it's not. Yeah. It's usually like bids and tenders, but that would be a consultant.
well, this would be more like an application process.
Yeah.
Not a, No?
Yeah.
What's council's thoughts here? What are you thinking?
Anything's possible and I'm all for it, but as long as we just plan on borrowing and then whatever we get after that, it's just gonna help us out, it's better. Cause we're gonna have to contingency, cause the way everything's going up, it's just, everything's getting harder and harder to obtain. And now everybody at this table has to realize that the economic forecast going forward for the next probably 12 to 18 months, there's gonna be huge economic corrections. And it's gonna be a slide and it's gonna be,
Really tough.
it's gonna be really tough. And fundraising is usually coming from corporate expenses, the main ones, and, I don't care how fancy you make the seat is on with their name on it, and the companies aren't making money. Like, we got an uphill battle ahead of us.
The same.
And I don't want anybody to have illusions, and I always will hope for the best. I'm a glass half full kind of person, but, boy, oh boy, we got job cut out. And it's not just Hornepayne, this is right across the board. Everybody's, and then people gotta realize too that when we go for this fund and all that, when they announce grants and all that, that's great, but you're gonna put money here, no more money's actual spending money as the budget goes up. The value goes down, so it's basically just holding its own, and all you do is moving the money from one part to another, to another, to another, so. Yeah, I would, to answer that question, yes, I would love to see a lot of funds come from fundraising, I just would like to manage expectations.
Okay.
I agree.
Counselor Stern?
I'm thinking more globally. I wonder if through AMO, because there are professional fundraisers out there. I don't know, not very familiar with the last 5, 6 years, but 10, 15 years ago, that's all they do.
Mhm.
And they don't have to live in the community. I mean, they could be anywhere in North America.
Absolutely.
And maybe AMO has some leads. The executive director. Instead of searching yourself or the administration, sorry, because they might have, say, you know what? There's a list of 20 people. And then you pinpoint those people, see if they're interested.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Okay, I like that idea too. I like that idea. Really like it. Go ahead, Jen, or, sorry, John, you had a comment?
I just had a comment, cause I'm very scared, or not scared, but, concerned that if we go down that route and if the fundraising doesn't happen, are we gonna be on the hook for a significant amount of money?
And we're on the hook for it now.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. This is,
I don't wanna be further down on a hook. You know
so
what I
that's
mean?
why I'm saying to do it through some kind of a commission basis,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? So if they raise it, a percentage is theirs, the rest comes to us as a bonus.
if that's possible.
If it's
but If it's
possible.
not, I don't want to, spend money or time on a.
No,
To not
And
make
lose,
money.
and basically lose, cause it's, like Peter said, it's a tough market out there right now. It's only gonna get tougher, so.
and just to clarify, it's gonna get better, it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it always does.
Everything
It's
has
law
that.
of gravity, the higher it goes up, whatever goes up, it's gonna fall down that much further.
So do you have enough direction for that?
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm glad to put whatever we think is realistic in the budget, I just don't know what that number is.
Yeah.
Like even saying 50,000 or 75, where did we get that from?
I'm most comfortable saying we borrow the money, and if we come up with new revenue, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, so
We
we
know what
borrow
it is to
100% of our portion.
Battle of a fire truck.
And the third of,
maybe have a chat, Mayor, with our colleague at CN. He's a good contact, you know where it is,
Mhm.
right? He was good to us our last 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think if you could get a good boost, a good start, that would get the whole momentum, as you know, there's something, like there was something new. I
Mhm.
think that gave us a boost, a major boost, not,
Yeah, and I have no problem doing that. I'll put that out to council, but I do not have the time to set up all these meetings. Like, we need somebody that's gonna set them up and then talk, like, I got a full-time job. Like, and I give more than, like, I realized that this week away, like, You can't give more blood, you can't get blood from a stone. So I appreciate what you're saying.
Just for
Greg,
Sienna, that's what I'm referring
Right.
to.
But I think there's money out there. Like when you
Yeah.
said it, I have no problem going and speaking, but all of the background and the setting up the meetings
yeah.
and all of
No,
that,
no.
I can't do all that. I'm sorry, like. I'm one person and I need days off.
Yeah.
Like,
What I'm just saying, to get the feel the, how cold or hot the water is with seeing with that individual, and if there's an opportunity, then administration could follow up. Why go through all the administration and letters and formality? If it's a no-go from day one, and you could get the thermometer temperature on it, that's the one thing we're
yeah, so
suggesting.
when we're talking about Daniel Salvatore Garcian, I think we've been in contact with him 3 times now over 3 different issues.
Yeah.
So that happens in the background, but I
Mhm.
think even more so, it needs to happen with other companies, like other people. And, you know, like having a sit down meeting and saying, look, we're gonna do this arena project, but we need money, we need help. Your workers are here, like, you have to come in. You know, I have no problem going in and doing that and having like a pro forma that I can say, this is, you know, if we don't do the project, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna have trains sitting in CN, in the yards here, continually, because people are gonna move to Hearst and they're gonna commute.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, that's what's, like, we have to get our community to a place where people wanna live here. And we've fought long and hard, you know, we've got the hotel now. I was so glad to see the restaurant. You know, they had some issues there and then it was right back open. And then how the community came together to serve the snowmobilers food. I was so proud of our community. I'm watching it on Facebook and then the Legion's popping up and I didn't even know the Legion was doing meals. Community member invited me for lunch and it was delicious. So I think the involvement's there. It's just, I have, Drago, I'm 100% with you, but I definitely need help in the background to
Yeah.
set the meeting
No,
up.
I was just referring to Sienna, not, and if I could, supplementary to, Manuela, when I fundraised major stuff, 84, 85, 86, what first people I went to besides Sienna was all these suppliers that we purchased equipment from.
Yeah. that
All
was
the
my-
suppliers who purchased calcium, and they did well for us.
And I think you're hitting something on the head there, Drago. We're going to NOMA. We're going to Phenom. They have trade show booths.
Yeah,
Get every card and let's have a little pamphlet that we hand to them. We need money in Hornepayne, or we're, you know, like, and then the same thing at AMO, we're gonna be there. What you're saying is exactly right. Go to every one of those booths and say,
yeah,
you have a corporate sponsorship for community.
yeah.
How can you help my community?
But
Instead of, you know, continually us buying your products, all of these communities are.
especially if a supplementary, if we buy calcium is not cheap. We all know that. I mean, I'm sure they could afford a few dollars. I don't want to speak on their behalf. The pieces of equipment you purchased.
Mhm.
So there is a opportunity, even from the administration side. You have all the contacts, you have all the names.
Yep, I have no problem
Yeah.
getting on the phone and doing those hours, like, yeah.
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 It's a start, I think, but that's
Yeah.
where I started back in 84, 85, 86.
Yep.
Okay, so you've got we needed fundraising. And we're gonna bring a resolution for the NCU, line of credit for $1 million. That's gonna come next
Yeah.
meeting. And, the resolution to apply for the
think this
construction loan for,
I was
Sorry,
gonna
go ahead.
specify there'll be bylaws.
our
Yes,
bylaws.
on this meeting though, I think. Is it this
No.
meeting? No?
And then the construction loan for Infrastructure Ontario.
Yeah.
Well, they'll come as bylaws, but don't we have to give you direction
It's
first?
direction. If the agreement would be a bylaw, this is the direction should be on this meeting tonight. Like a resolution
There was
for
no
the
report.
application. Or a direction for the application.
So when do you need those? Do you want them for next meeting, Cindy? Does that
Ideally.
work?
Ideally.
Or do you want them now?
Can we do a verbal direction from council tonight
To at least get.
to go ahead and do the applications and bring the applications, the agreements to bylaw?
I have no problem with that. Is that,
Do you wanna draft the motion then, just cause I don't know the exact wording?
I think just a direction in the minutes to,
no, it has to be.
has to be a
motion, yeah.
resolution.
Yeah.
So,
I have no problem. We can draft a motion for that. Is council in agreement, first of all, for cash flows, Northern Credit Union, $1 million? And I like the idea that they're gonna give us a better rate. And when we get all of this financing sorted out, maybe we do that revolving $1 million loan we get every year with CIBC with them.
Yeah.
Or like negotiate a better rate, use the two.
And another factor on that, which I forgot to mention with Northern Credit, they did indicate if we had to
Start.
you want me to this with, and we would have better opportunity to get better interest rates on our savings.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to pump up, because the current one that's in here is really,
Okay,
so. We might-
yeah, so I have no problem. I think council's all in agreement to give direction tonight to, move forward with the Northern Credit Union line of credit for $1 million and to apply for the construction loan for the arena project.
Yeah.
Okay. And, well, Jen's writing that up, so you got the budget or the fundraising stuff we had talked about, and then, you also talked about the reserves and banks accounts that you're looking up till 2023. And then that will have a report coming to council.
Yeah.
Once that's done. And I have 1, 2, and 4. There must have been a 3. Are we missing something?
The in-kind policy. Is that
In kind, yeah, in kind donations capture the revenue.
is that a direction or is it something we're doing?
I'll do a policy and bring it back to council for review and then a recommendation. So just because of where we are with investments and what's happened historically, because we have looked at some of the accounts, we've gone through bank accounts from 2020 to 2023, like almost to the end of 2023. And I definitely see money coming in, but none of that money has been set aside in a separate bank account to, like, that's earning interest, or even after COVID, the interest rates were like 4 or 5%. I was getting on savings accounts 4.5%. We should have been getting 28, 29, $3,000 on an account we had here. We were getting a month, we were getting 300 because nobody moved it. It was getting like 0.25% or 1% because nobody went to the next door to the credit union and said, hey, can we just move this into a new savings account that's earning 4% today? So there's like a lot of lost opportunity in the past. So I'd like to do like a little investment policy, so that there's direction for people in the future to follow.
Definitely.
Okay. So that's another recommendation, is to prepare an investment policy, like just to direct those kinds of things, to be prudent about looking for better rates and just moving money when we receive it into an interest-bearing account that's set aside for capital projects, so that when council asks, do we have the money? The answer is yes, it's set aside in this fund or in this account, not it's buried in the reserves.
Go ahead, John.
Do we really need a policy to direct that?
I strongly recommend a policy to direct that based on
History.
Yeah.
what I'm seeing today.
Well, I think a policy and that it include that we get an investment breakdown at least every half a year of what's moved or, you know, what we did with it or something.
Mhm.
Send me it.
Yeah, like it needs to.
So just to be blunt, it's like every small northern, I love the north. I am a northerner. I grew up in the north. It's hard to attract people to the north. So sometimes you just don't get talent. And if you don't have talent and if you don't have people with the education, the background, or the experience, they need to have somewhere to look to for direction. And the people that are here today, if they're exiting, there's nobody to give them that direction other than the policy that was put there. That says, you know, when you get these dollars, put them in a separate fund. When you get those dollars, put them in a separate fund. Make sure you look for the best interest rates. Report to council because semi-annually, because it holds you responsible, right? Because then council at least can say, oh, like, you know, the climate today, we're getting 4% interest. Why are we not getting that on this fund, like, or on this block of money? Like, it makes council aware, and it makes people sometimes like a little quicker to jump and do their tasks. So I'm not, I don't wanna look backwards. I don't wanna point any fingers at anybody. Things happen in the past. People made mistakes. I make mistakes. I'm gonna make mistakes today, tomorrow, and for the next 10 years. But if I can make a plan to do things better and to help the township going forward, then that's the goal of that policy. Goal of every policy. So,
Council agrees, that's fine.
okay. For me.
Okay, thanks, Jen. Okay, I do have a motion, Jen crafted a motion, memo and Jen. It reads, be it resolved that council authorizes the CFO to apply for a revolving line of credit for $1 million from the Northern Credit Union, NCU, and for $1 million construction loan. Is that what you need? I don't think there was a number for that, was there?
We were actually looking at potentially 2 million.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
just,
okay.
I'm just going
Sorry.
to, I'll just erase
And
here.
again, we don't have to draw the full 2 in that case. We can ask for part of it and only pay interest on whatever we've drawn. So it's similar to like credit in
Okay,
that respect.
okay, and a $2 million construction loan from Infrastructure Ontario for the arena expansion project. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor John Peroff, seconder, by Councillor Belinda Kissmaker. So be it resolved that council authorizes the CFO to apply for a revolving line of credit for $1 million from Northern Credit Union, NCU, and $2 million construction loan from Infrastructure Ontario for the arena expansion project. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so did we hit all your items, Cindy? Yeah, okay, right on. So, I do have a question about the entire budget. When are we looking at being at a place of completion?
Cindy?
Okay, so as you know, we've had some discussions. We're going to be doing a bit more research, even on some of the questions that you've had. And making any changes that have already been identified that we would like to change. I guess, this is where it gets a little harder to know for sure. First meeting in April would be a good chance for me to get all of this pulled together and give you the overall budget as well as the same ones you've already seen with the updates. To, you know, to see on forms or answering the questions.
Okay.
So I agree, April 16th with review period till April 30th or May 7th, well, April 30th, I guess, is the next meeting. So April 16th to 26th would give a 10-day review period and allow us to put it on the April 30th budget for any kind of discussion. And if there's no issues with it, then adoption on May 14th.
Okay. Everyone good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've already had like a lot of discussions and this is kind of a review period now of what we've already talked about, so.
Okay. Go ahead, Jen.
Just a quick question. Will there be, just for the notices and stuff, public comment period again, or?
Yes, from April 16th to 26th,
April 17th.
17th, the morning of the 17th after the council meeting on the
Go ahead,
16th.
Councillor.
Yeah, because all the dates you have currently out, they're outdated.
Yeah,
They're-
so,
I mean,
yeah.
they should have been removed quite a while ago.
Okay.
False information, yeah, or site.
Okay. Anytime that happens, council, just shoot Manuel,
Yeah.
an email if you see it.
Yeah, I'll do that. I just been wanting prepared.
oh, please do.
Okay.
There's a lot of things to remember, so please do.
I know my place, as a member of council of Roots Administration.
If you notice something, please bring it to my attention, because there's so many things to think, yeah.
Okay, so are we done with the item number 7.1? Okay. We'll go through the other items until 8:30. At 8:30, we're gonna take a break. So, correspondence information only, resolution recommended. If I can get a mover and a seconder to open up the discussion, moved by Councillor Peter Kissmaker, second by Councillor John Peroff. Be resolved that council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the correspondence information only package 10 attached to the agenda of the regular meeting of council held on March 18th, 2026. Okay. Any discussion on that item? We were supposed to do a follow-up letter as well, aren't we, about Highway 1117?
Sure. Yes, it's still being finalized.
Okay. Just as that would go with that, with NOMA's media release. Okay. Any further discussion on correspondence information only? Jen, did you have something?
I was just going to mention with regards to this, part of the reason why the letter is being finalized, you'll see in another business. There is, the NOMA Highway Task Force information. So I wanted to also see if council wanted that information included in the letter. Additionally, this was not under correspondence because it wasn't sent to us. I saw it and thought that it was, relevant to council's discussions at the table.
Okay.
So that's.
Okay, any further discussion on information only? Those in favor to receive? And that's good. Committee and board updates. Mover and seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Pierre Kissmer, seconded by Councillor Jerry Stefanik. Be it resolved that council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the committee and board meeting minutes attached to the agenda of the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. Any comment on any of those minutes? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Those in favor? And that is carried. And council committee updates? Start here, John, Councillor Para, go ahead.
Well, as you know, the last meeting I had was at our last council meeting. I was virtual and in Nipigon for the Thunder Bay Municipal League. One of the big topics obviously was I would concern over the safety of Highway 17 and 11. And it is a big concern by every community, and went into a discussion. Even the small towns get affected when the highways close and all the trucks and vehicles pile up along the highway. It restricts access for the local community back and forth, and many arguments there. Another one I found was very interesting was the health unit that they have. They're talking about stress at work and even at home. All the signs and symptoms and how it affects people. And I thought, made me more aware than what usually I would have thought of. So I thought that was very good. They're all good, but in particular, those ones were better. So other than that, I have nothing.
Okay, and you had safe travel there back, so that's good.
Safe travels there and back, yes. I
Okay.
just missed the storm when I got home, so.
Oh, good, good. So, thank you, John. Any questions for John? Okay, there being none, Peter?
Nothing to add right now.
Okay. Did, I have a question about the policing board. Anything there?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Be soon.
There will be soon, okay. Belinda?
We had an LCC meeting on last Tuesday. I would, don't really have anything to bring up, but I do hope to bring up a report to give everyone in May. The M&R, it should be coming down for this meeting, I think. It's either May or June. So when that happens, I'll have a good report to bring.
Okay, okay.
And I'll probably try and add what we've been learning through the year as well during that report.
And the 10-year forest management plan must be coming up?
Yeah.
starts in, the new plan starts in, 2031,
right?
31, 32. And, they're just gearing up to, it's a 3-year process usually to write it, so they're just gearing up.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
No, no,
It's
that's
just
fine.
you're on LLC. so.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I look
I'll
forward
leave it
to-
at that and then I will be introducing a bigger report later.
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Svanek?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Upcoming meeting, virtual FCIP new immigration program and library board in-person program, couple weeks within the time frame from now. And just a supplementary, the province of Ontario has approved from 36 conservation authorities to 9. It's gonna be the law. So it'll be North Bay, Sudbury, Sioux. The government didn't listen again. They had a major pushback, and I think the deal was done before it even happened. My opinion.
Yes, go ahead.
Comment on, the, Lakehead out of the Thunder Bay was, really trying to get their own conservation and pushing the government. I don't know what the results were on that one.
They fare better than most. Thank you.
Okay, so we do have our meeting next week, but we won't have council committee updates on that, so there's quite a few things coming up. The Good Roads Conference is gonna happen. I'm gonna hand over the presidency, which I've been grateful for my year, but I'm actually glad to see my year come to an end. There's lots of work to everything. And, we do have a Northeast Superior's Mayor's Group that's going to take place well enough at the conference, so I do need someone to step in place for that meeting, because it is important. And I would request that the CAO attend. Usually you can do them virtual. I believe this one is a virtual meeting. We decided to go twice a year in person for the mayor's groups when it's nicer weather to drive. So I'm not sure who the designate, it would be yourself, John, on that one, as the deputy mayor. And there's minutes, Manuel can get you the minutes, Heidi Trudeau's the one, is the secretary for the group.
Okay, I'd love to attend.
Okay, that'd be
What
fantastic.
was that date
But
again?
it's virtual, correct?
It's virtual, yes, it's the Wednesday of the Good Roads second, April 2nd. I think it's the Wednesday, the first Wednesday in April, I believe. And, I did mention already, NEOMA's on, April the 10th, so I'll be attending that. And then NOMA's at the end of, April, or 22nd to the 24th of April. If there's anything that we want brought to NOMA, because you do get quite a bit of one-on-one time with the ministers at NOMA. I need that list, like I can't have it the day before. Yes, go ahead.
Based on tonight's meeting, I would say fire training.
Okay, yeah, if we have that information, well, we're gonna send the fire training to the Northeast Superior's Marriage Group in Neoma already, so that we'll have that information.
But for NOMA, are you speaking about a delegation, or you?
No, no, I'm
Oh,
not in
sorry,
delegation, I'm
sorry.
saying that
Okay.
I'll get one-on-one time with the ministers. So I'm just saying, we have, 4 weeks out. But I can't do it off the top of my head, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I need some sort of paper in my hand so I can hand it off. Counselor Smith,
Yeah,
go ahead.
of course, Highway 11 and 17, and all the information you can get from David Ford. He's the president of NEOMA. He has all the data. It was put across Northeastern Ontario. He could give you the package and see exactly. They have all the data information. So that would be a good thing as well.
Right,
to cover
thank you.
both
What was
11
the
and
name?
17.
David?
Ford,
Third,
PLOURD.
Jenny, go ahead.
I did get an email today actually about NOMA delegation, so if council would like for me to apply for any on our behalf, let me know.
Okay, who's all there?
I'm not sure, the email just come in when I was in a meeting.
And we have a meeting on the 16th.
Yes, but I think the deadline is before that.
No, I'm just saying that so we can
Oh.
see the packages.
Yes.
And what did we do at Roma? Cause there's gonna be two of us at NOMA.
Oh.
We did the fire at,
Mhm.
I don't think the Solicitor General is gonna be at NOMA.
No, and we did the small northern tax.
We could do that at NOMA. We could actually ask NOMA if we could speak to it there. I have no problem speaking to that at the conference. That's the
Which?
first spot. For the small tax credit.
Okay.
Yeah, the.
Yeah.
We can do that. Is there anything else that, so the fire trucks?
Fire trucks, fire training. Highway 1117, small northern tax.
So I'm not saying we do delegations for all of this, but if we have our latest report, if I could get that. And Counselor Kistmaker, Belinda, you're going, right, for NOMA? If Belinda can have it too, so we're both on the same page of where our municipality's at with those things. And then the updated one for the fire department that we're going to create.
And when is NOMA?
The 22nd of April to the 24th. I believe.
Yes.
Do they list the ministers?
That's what I'm trying, yes, they do.
Okay, who do we got?
perfect. So, Associate Minister Kevin Holland for Forestry and Forest Products. Minister George Peary, Northern Economic Development and Growth. Minister Rob Black, Municipal Affairs and Housing. Minister Jill Dunlop, Emergency Preparedness and Response. Minister Raymond Cho, Seniors and Accessibility. Minister Todd McCarthy, Acting Minister of Infrastructure. Minister Todd McCarthy, Minister Environment, Conservation and Parks. Associate Minister Sam Oosterhoff, Energy Intensive Industries. Minister Lisa Thompson, Rural Affairs. Parliamentary Assistant Lauren Coe, Ministry of Colleges, Universities, Research Excellence and Security. Ministry of Transportation, MTO, Parliamentary Assistant or Minister. Ontario Liberal Party MPPs, Ontario Green Party, and Ontario NDP.
Okay. Did you say MTO?
Yes.
Okay. And Minister of Finance? No.
No.
Okay, I don't, nothing jumped out. I don't wanna go to Rob Black again for the same thing. I'd rather speak to it
Yeah.
at the
Mhm.
conference and ask them, see if we can get a time slot in their agenda.
Okay, so you want me to reach out to NOMA to see if there's,
Yeah, ask Jason if we can have a time slot and send him the package, the presentation that Manuel did up.
There's a couple, so.
Yeah. Anything else, council? What else can we do? How do we approach the fire? The emergent Jill's gonna be there? Cause we need help with
Yep.
the Solicitor General. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
yeah,
We
Jill
need
will be
support.
Can you have,
Let's send the report. We'll try and get Jill and talk about emergency preparedness for our communities. Go ahead, sorry. Peter.
if you put a price factor on it, just to say, come up with the numbers of, what we're actually have to borrow, what it costs to run our own individual community, and what these new rules are for the fire truck, what percentage of taxes is gonna add to it, and, the actual impact of what they're doing. And as well as if you could talk about what, the fire chief was talking about earlier, about all this training that is just, it's our, what is it, how do you say it, the demographics of our fire department will not allow it. So you're putting us between a rock and a hard place with zero options. They're applying Southern Ontario rules and principles to a place that, like, it doesn't coordinate, it doesn't go together, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Go ahead, Jen.
Do we want a follow-up? Minister Dunlop?
Yeah, cause we can we'll thank her and tell her what we did with the money.
Yeah.
We'll do that in the delegation, but then we wanna talk about having her support for fire departments. Just over to you, Miles. Can we get, for a firefighter, the cost of the training that they need to be fully qualified? Just the cost, and then we can add you know, an estimate to the amount
Your
of
wage loss.
travel it takes or whatever, and then the wage loss. So basically, we need to start with how many days the training, so we can put it in a pie graph. And Cindy, would you be able to help us with that?
Cost to train and qualify somebody,
I'll help with that.
where do you want them to go to train?
No, just what it cost, like, if I wanted to be a firefighter, fully qualified.
Yeah.
In our department, what are the courses I need to take? So then those list of courses, the cost of those courses, and then we'll just put an app and we'll pick a medium place that we'd have to travel to with, night stays or whatever. And so we have a figure and we can show this is what we, you know, cause you said we could go somewhere by Kenora for the ones on the weekend, we can go down south, so, or we could have went to Sault Ste. Marie. So if we pick, you know, Sault Ste. Marie is our medium, but these costs, that's an estimate. And then I can show that, because we need how many qualified, how many people do we need to have a successful fire department?
So generally, we have about 20. I think our numbers are lower right now and they're dropping real quick. I was just reading an NFPA standard for a fully involved two-story house fire, requires 24 firefighters. 25 if it's an aerial truck.
Okay, so two-story homes,
I can't do it.
Yeah. you don't even have it, so,
I'm lucky if I get 7 guys show up. We have good turnout, good attendance, but the attendance has really dropped drastically
Okay.
in the past 2
Um,
and 3 months.
Do you need a staff person at NOMA with you, or are you good, just the two of you?
I would prefer to have a staff person, just to just so all the staff knows. We've usually always have a staff person
Yeah.
with the council member. Because all of the information, like the last Roma meeting, you can't, it's hard to take notes and be talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just be straight up, I'm horrible at it.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I
Counselor.
think if you're gonna present, I think what Miles pointed out very clearly. Beside the money, the current volunteers will not have the time, as you said, they will not, number one, get approval from whatever work they're at. So that's the other issue, which goes back to the ministry. It wasn't well thought out, but it's actually ill thought out, because even if you had the money, they can't go, it's not gonna happen. And I did listen to you carefully.
They're not willing to do it without loss of wages.
Right.
And then the employers aren't getting, I've asked the employers and they said, come take their own personal leave days.
So I think
You're affecting production.
that should be also, in my opinion, brought up as well. So give her the whole picture,
Yeah,
please.
Okay,
Good with
well,
that?
council, is it okay if I attend as the staff person?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a passed budget yet.
yeah, well, you're
We
allowed
don't
to
have it.
spend up to, I think that's 45% of last year's budget or whatever.
So, okay,
So do you
I
want me to
don't know
stay
what,
there?
it's 25.
You sure? Cause just thinking of the budget.
Well, I could stay home. And you could go.
You're better at this than me.
Yeah, that's what you said the last time you gave me something to do.
I'm just.
Other people gotta get better at it, okay?
Try to wiggle it this one.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get 4
I'm
people
just
at this
saying-
table trained up.
Just saying that you know these people.
Okay, so you're coming. You already gave up ammo. Come, because we're gonna tag team them.
Okay.
That's what we're
I
gonna
can
do.
do that.
Yep.
Just saying.
okay, so we have a lot of work to do between now and then.
You know, I did a good job when you met the minister, remember 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Virtually?
Oh, virtually, yeah, that was hell.
Okay.
Fun being
Back
honest.
and forth.
Yeah, I
before you
remember
were-
that.
yeah.
Okay.
I took it.
Okay, that's it for council updates for me. I just wanted to make sure we were looking ahead. And we do have AMO, so make sure we're thinking about it in May. What we're gonna do at AMO, if we're going to have delegations, I think we have to implore upon the province that small municipalities need more money. There's just no way about it, and they can't keep downloading to
No.
nothing. The provincial tax base, it's not set up. We heard about this years ago, and it's, we're getting such a small cut of the pie and they're expecting too much from it. And in Northern Ontario, we're not paid, we get an honorarium to sit here, but we're not full-time
No.
council.
Yeah,
And they can't expect people did do that, like, yeah. So, before we carry on, we're gonna take a 10-minute break and we're gonna come back and finish our meeting. Okay, so it's, I think 9:50 or
8:34.
or
8:35.
8:35. Okay, we're at, 10, new and other business. 10.1 is a support resolution. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Counselor Travis Fenn, seconded by Counselor John Carroll. Whereas Mayor Roger Seguin, Chair of NEOMA Highway Task Force, Mayor Town of Hearst, has requested the opportunity to appear before the House of Commons Standing Committee on Transportation Infrastructure and Communities as part of its study of the changing landscape of truck drivers in Canada. And whereas Highway 11, known as the Trans-Canada Highway, functions as a vital transportation corridor and a key national artery connecting Ontario with Western Canada, supporting interprovincial trade and sustaining national supply chains, including the movement of food, fuel, medical supplies, construction materials, and industrial goods. And whereas municipalities in Northern Ontario have raised serious and persistent concerns regarding safety and mobility on highways 11 and 17, including severe collisions and the increasingly frequent weather-related incidences, resulting in long and repeated highway closures with significant human, economic, and social consequences. Whereas truck drivers operating along Highway 11 face unique challenges, including extenuating stretches without services, limited access to safety rest areas and truck parking, harsh and prolonged winter conditions, poor winter maintenance, wildlife hazards, insufficient passing lanes, and aging or inadequate infrastructure, which increases safety risks and contribute to challenges related to driver retention, training, and working conditions. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne hereby supports the NEOMA Highway Task Force request to appear before the House of Commons Standing Committee on Transport, Infrastructure, and Communities to provide Northern Ontario perspectives and evidence relevant to the committee's study on changing landscape of truck drivers in Canada. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Mayor Roger Seguin, Chair of NEOMA Highway Task Force. We'll delete that part, Mayor Township of Hearst, that's the same person, or you wanna send it to both?
I think it's just listing, because that's how he put it in the actual,
Okay,
so I wasn't sure how to put it in here.
okay, so, Mayor Town of Hearst to the House of Commons Standing Committee on Transportation, Infrastructure, and Communities, and to Terry Sheehan, Member of Parliament for Algoma, Manitoulin, Kapuskasing, and Bill Rosenberg, Member of Provincial Parliament for Algoma, Manitoulin, with copies to the Northeastern Ontario Municipal Association, NEOMA, and the Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association, NOMA, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, ROMA, and the Federation of Northern Municipalities, FNOM, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO. Okay, I would like to, and I would like to add a friendly amendment to send it to Good Roads as well. And should we include, MTO as well, council?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, with that, any other friendly amendments to that? No, then I put that to vote, those in favor? And that is carried. We have, AMCTO elections training coming up for the CAO and clerk attendance. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council authorizes the CAO and clerk to attend AMCTO elections training in Sudbury, Ontario on May 6, 2026, and approves all related costs, registration, travel, accommodation, if required, and meals in accordance with the township's travel policy. Any discussion on the motion? I put that to a vote, those in favor, and that is carried. Okay, moving on to bylaws. So the first bylaw is for the bylaw amendment to 18 Becker Road. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Peter Kistemaker, second by Councillor John Perroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 219326, being a bylaw to amend the Township of Hornepayne zoning bylaw number 1987 to change the zoning from light industrial M1 to heavy industrial M2 for the property located at 18 Becker Road, be hereby read a first and second time, be considered read a third time, and finally passed. Any further discussion on that bylaw? There being none, I put it to a vote. Those in favor, and that is carried. bylaw number 219426 is the Ontario Fire Protection Grant Transfer Payment Agreement. If I can get a mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Greg Spanik, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, be it resolved that bylaw number 219426 being a bylaw to enter into a transfer payment agreement between the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne and His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of the Solicitor General, Office of the Fire Marshal for the purpose of acquiring critical equipment and other needs, health and safety, minor infrastructure and specialized tools to improve and enhance the level of fire protection services being provided, be hereby read a first and second time, be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on that bylaw? And I'm glad to see we have it in before the 31st of March. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, bylaw number 219526, sale of land, Hornepayne Service Center. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Peter Kistemaker, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 219526 being a bylaw to authorize the sale of property currently known as 5127 Highway 631 by the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne be hereby read a first and second time, be considered read a third time, and finally passed. Any further discussion on that bylaw for the sale of land? Okay, there being none, I put it to a vote. Those in favor, and that is carried. 11.3 is bylaw number 219626, sale of land for 16 Spruce Street. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Drago Spanik, second by Councillor John Paroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 219526 being a bylaw to authorize the sale of property currently known as 16 Spruce Street by the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne for the development of a duplex be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any further discussion on that bylaw? Okay, there being none, I put it to a vote. Those in favor, and that is carried. Okay, item 12, there is nothing on the agenda for motions or notice of motion, so we're moving into a closed session. If I can get a mover and a seconder to move in. Moved by Councillor John Paroff, second by Councillor Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting at 8:57 PM be closed to the public in order to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Pursuant to section 239(2) BCF of the Municipal Act 2001. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, if we can return to open council, mover, seconder, please, moved by Counselor Drago Spanik, second by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby return to open council at 9:40 PM. Is in favor? And that's carried. And business arising from the closed session, item 13.3 is still ongoing. Item 13.4 is still ongoing, and item 13.5 is ongoing. And if we can get a mover and a seconder for the confirmatory, please, moved by Counselor Peter Kistemaker, second by Counselor John Paroff. Be it resolved that the bylaw number 219726, being bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at the regular meeting held on Wednesday, March 18th, 2026, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Those in favor? And that's carried. And the adjournment moved by Counselor Drago Spanik, second by Counselor Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council does hereby adjourn this regular meeting of council held on March 18th, 2026 at 9:41 PM. Those in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, council. Thank you very much.